Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to Strangers in the Night, your source for late night VR gaming talk. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends, Ruuts. How's it going, brother? How you doing?
It's going good. I'm just watching the stream, seeing how it looks. Actually looks pretty good. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. How about yourself,
Awesome.
sir?
Glad to hear it. Yeah, a little bit. My head's spinning a little bit trying to get on top of all these games over the last couple of days, but we're getting there. So I'm in a pretty good mood. What about you, Eric? How are you doing?
Rocking and rolling, man. I spent the whole day just setting my new PC up and playing a whole bunch of VR, man. I rarely get, I don't know, you guys have got to be the same way. I rarely get a full day where I can just do nothing but play video games, and today was pretty cool. I mean, I like it. I would prefer it when I can just play video games that I want to play, but if I can spend a whole day playing video games, I don't even really care. Just as long as I'm playing video games, I guess it's a good day.
Yeah, it felt pretty good, didn't it? I don't know about you, but for me, it's been a while since I've been able to play anything at all. So just getting back into VR, it was kind of refreshing, right? To be able to just sit down and even though it was rushed and I'm trying to jump around through 50 different games, it felt good just to play something, right? Just to get the headset on and play some games.
Yeah, I like getting back into games. Like, I mean, we there's so many games that, like, especially for Game of the Month, that we touch on like quickly, right? And then you're like, okay, I got to move on. And it's nice to be able to have time, like before we do a Game of the Month show, to get back in, do a refresher, get a little bit deeper in the game, so we can get a better feel, so we can get these games in. So it's nice to have a day like today, even though we're on the precipice of one of the craziest months that we'll see for games coming out. It's kind of nice just to take a full day, I played everything today. I played today was stuff that came out in September. And it was cool, man. I thought I didn't have a ton of bad stuff to say, which is, I guess, a good positive thing.
Hey,
Yeah,
Mash,
yeah,
I
it
got
was pretty
something. Sorry, I don't mean
result.
it. Oh, sorry. It's free VR real estate. Says anyone else get duped into buying Project Wingman this week?
I didn't get duped, but I did buy it just so I could piss all over it.
He literally bought it so he could piss all over it. So it's
Exactly.
like $30 toilet. Project Wingman.
It's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, Wes told me, he's like, don't even bother going in there. I'm like, well, I have to now. It's like, number one, everybody's saying how bad it is now. It's like one of those things where somebody says, don't press this button. And you're just sitting there, you're like, oh man, I want to press that button. So is everybody saying how bad it is? And I'm like, no, well, now I have to see it. You know what I mean? And we get most of the games that we get. The developers are nice enough to send us copies. They didn't send me a copy for this one, so I actually had to eat it and buy a $30 shitty game. I knew that was going to be shitty, but sometimes you just got to see these things for yourself.
Yeah, Roots, this is what really bothered me about it. The game itself, I mean, it's not the worst game I've ever played. To play it, I mean, the gameplay is I mean, it's kind of mid, right? It's not great. It's not terrible. It's probably the worst flight game that I've played in VR. Admittedly, I didn't play into it very deep. I know somebody was giving us difficulty in the chat the other day saying that we needed to play more because it does get better. And that might be the case. But after playing the first level, I mean, it visually looked pretty bad. And the gameplay was just kind of mid. It doesn't support HOTAS. Which is kind of a head scratcher. But this is what really bothered me about it. What bothered me about it is that everyone believed that this was going to be the whole game in VR. We had people that demoed this game at Gamescom. We had a blog post last week talking about the game, and nowhere in any of this media or blog post or anything did anyone ever mention that the main campaign isn't playable in VR. And they just stealth drop it on us. Everyone rushes to buy it and then find out that they don't get the new game. And this is what really bothers me about that is, what was it, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? We were rather vocal about another channel accusing a studio of deceptive practices, in marketing their game. And we thought it wasn't fair and that they shouldn't have done that. But here I am a month later, and it sure seems like that this studio was using deceptive practices when marketing their game.
If it's not, it's definitely horrible. I mean, it duped a lot of people, got duped into buying this game exactly like they said. And, it's kind of a big deal. And we've already had something like that in VR where we had won certain missions of a flight game, but they were very upfront and that was the way it was. And everybody accepted it. And it's kind of sucks, And what sucks is that the game on top of itself, the graphics suck so bad that Eric wants to piss all over it. So it's like a lose-lose all over the place. Like $30 down the drain, really. So
this is just one of those games like you scratch your head like why? Like why would you even release this? This makes no sense to release this game. It's a flat game, so just release it flat. Why even put the VR missions in here? Because it just makes you look like shit as a company. So like everybody that plays it in VR is going to shit on it. And now you're going to get a bad review score most likely in Steam just because of the VR reviews. So to me, and you're not going to sell anything, you know what I mean? So, well, you can't review it on PlayStation, I guess anyway, right? But still, I don't know. It just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like this game on PC is actually a decent game. Like Project Wingman on PC is a good game. It's not the best flyer out there, but it's passable. It's a good game. I would recommend people go take a look at it and check it out. This game looks terrible. This is one of the worst looking PlayStation games I've ever seen. It doesn't even look good for PSVR 1. Like it looks so bad. Like the textures are terrible. The draw distance is awful. Everything looks like it's got, like jagged lines to it. Nothing looks smooth. The colors are terrible. Like everything looks blurry. And then you look down in the cockpit and you have no hands. And you have no, flight stick. Like you can't even simulate giving me a flight stick. I get that I'm using a controller and not, a HOTAS or, even the touch controls. But damn, I mean, at least simulate giving me a flight stick. So when I look down, I don't see anything about my legs and my dick. I mean, come on, man. And the cockpit looks terrible. Like somebody said, the cockpit doesn't look bad. The cockpit looks terrible. It looks like they just superimposed an image over it. Like it doesn't even look 3D to me. It looks flat.
Todd's in the chat. Todd says, I played Warplanes Aircore today. It's 100% better than Project Wingman.
Oh, it probably is.
Ultra Wings is better than Project Wingman. Like
really?
Literally every other flight game I've played is better than this. And so,
and it's boring. Did you?
Yeah.
How long did you guys play
Yeah.
it? It's like the missions go on forever, ever. Like it's just like they made them long just to put something in there, like to make it longer. You know what I mean? That when you're making missions long just to like make it so it's not too short, it gets boring after 5 minutes for me in this. I'm like, I don't know. It's one of the worst games I've ever played.
What about What the Bat? Is it better than What the Bat? Or is it?
It's up there. Like this is What the Plane.
No, I wouldn't go that far with it. I wouldn't say it's one of the worst games I've ever played, but it's not great. It's definitely one of the. It's one of the worst games on that platform in its young life here, certainly. Here's the thing that really I found weird, because I mean there was some stuff that came out last week, like Red Matter remake came out, and it's just like fucking jaw dropping, like you would expect it to be. The Waltz of the Wizard Complete Edition came out, which for what it's worth was way better than I expected it to be. I mean, there was other stuff that came out last week. Paper Beast, I think, came out last week. There was stuff that was really good on that hit the PSVR 2 store last week, and that completely overshadowed by this one game that came out and just how bad that it turned out. So it's unfortunate, and Sony even put like a new PSVR 2 trailer out last week. And it was a nice compilation trailer. It had a bunch of the exclusive stuff on it. And at the end of that sizzle reel, Project Wingman. Like, what? Why is this here? One of these things is not like the other. You know what I'm saying?
What about
baffles me.
What about Dungeons of Eternity? I know it's not Sony, but everybody's raving about that. Even Mr. Lord Beavis in the chat. Have you guys tried that yet?
Not yet, but this is definitely something that we're going to be covering this month. It will be among the dozens and dozens of games that we're going to cover this month. Dude, I don't know if you've looked at the calendar, Ruuts, but I think this could be a historic month for VR releases, not just because of Quest 3, but all of the releases, all the stuff we've got coming to PSVR 2. It is literally nuts. It's like every other day there's a game this month. It's crazy. And good
How do,
games too, not just garbage.
Mhm.
well, then what do I do? You just told me before the show that Cyberpunk just got fixed by Luke Ross, and I really want to go in there and check it out. My thing is like, what's that?
You're screwed.
I'm screwed. Why? Because I just went into Red Dead 2 again yesterday after because I was having some issues with the mod, even though it's so old. But I was able to fix it just by recalibrating it, and I forgot. And this is kind of why I want to go into Cyberpunk. And this is kind of what is missing in most of these VR games, is these worlds that just feel alive, full of action and people and cars driving around. It's GTA experience, right? And I felt that again in Red Dead 2. I was just kind of walking through the streets of like the industrial town and just checking out everything, looking at all the people, looking at all the buildings, and it just blew me away all over again. And I'll tell GTA again right now. It's one of the best games in VR, bro. You need to get in there. I love Red Dead 2 in VR. It's one of the best games I've played. And
I still haven't done it yet.
oh my God, Mash, what is wrong with you, bro? It's really good. Yeah.
I have to do Uncharted 4. I got my new PC build. It's ready to go.
Yes.
So like I'm ready to download tomorrow. I would have played if it wasn't for getting ready for this show. I would have played it today, or at least this weekend. But we had a lot to play for this weekend or for today's show.
Okay. So how about the next time that we do game impressions? That's one of them. And I would suggest maybe even doing that a week from today if you think you'll have enough time to. I don't know if you have enough time to play VR every day this week, so maybe not next week. But maybe the 1 week from this Friday. All right. So I guess we should say this Friday. We're not going to do a normal Strangers in the Night. So what we're going to do instead is my annual Here They Lie playthrough. So I'm going to play through Here They Lie this Friday, and as a little bit of a twist compared to the usual format, I'm going to have Mash here join me on commentary. So we're going to be able to discuss it as I play through it, and it won't be just me kind of talking to the chat like it normally is, but we're going to have another voice. So that should be pretty cool. Be sure to tune in to that this Friday. I'll put the show page up probably tomorrow. And if you haven't played this game, or you've played it and you don't quite understand it, be sure to tune in, because we're going to deep dive on that motherfucker like we always do.
I think it's going to be cool because I think we're going to be able to have some discussions about different parts of the game and different kind of things that happen during it. So I think that'll be cool to kind of talk through them, so I can kind of like pick your brain on how you go through this thing. And then what'll be easier too is I'll be able to reach out for you. You don't have to in the PSVR 1 headset come out for chat.
Are you worried, Wes, a little
helpful.
bit about going backwards into that headset for a little?
No.
I know you'll adjust. You better maybe you should go right on, like put it on right live on stream so everybody can see your first reaction.
No, what I'll do is I'll play something on Wednesday night or Thursday night to allow myself that space. You know, when you first put it on and you go backwards in tech, it's pretty jarring, right? Every little imperfection sticks out. But as you play, you get a couple hours in a headset, whether it be PSVR 1 or the old Rift or whatever, your brain adapts and it overlooks a lot of the imperfections. So I'm going to be sure to play something, maybe Astrobot or Farpoint on Thursday, so that when I get hit Here They Lie on Friday, it doesn't look super blurry.
Yeah, Astrobot's a good one. That still looks probably,
cool.
amazing in that game or in that headset.
Yeah. It's a masterpiece of a game, that's for sure. I can't wait to get the updated version on PSVR 2.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's gonna be awesome.
Anyway, the point is since we don't have stuff to play for Friday, maybe we knock out Uncharted this week, or like Ruuts and I can finish it up as Eric gets started on it, and then whenever you're done playing it, Mash, we'll we'll cover it on the very next show, next time that you're live with us.
I'm in. There's so many mods I want to jump into now. I want to go. I want to go into Far Cry 6. I want to take a look at that. I want to look at. I want to look at Red Dead, like Ruuts just said, because I haven't even tried that yet.
I want to try Grounded. Because it's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's like everything, the scale on it, I would imagine, is amazing. I saw a guy playing that in his house the other day, and he told me what it was. I said, oh, shit, Luke Ross has a mod for that game. And I always thought that would be pretty cool.
Don't know that one.
Absolutely. I know the Portal mod came out recently as well.
Yes.
We haven't gotten around to that one. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to do on top of all of these fresh releases that are coming out. So hopefully we can find time to shoehorn a mod or two in this month.
Damn, we need a whole mod month.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we did that a couple months. We did mod month a few months this year. You know, things should slow down a little bit in like November, so we might have a little bit more room for mods then. Although we do have some big releases coming up in November. It's not like wall to wall the way that October is. October's just fucking insanity.
Let me ask you this. When the Unreal Engine mod drops, say it dropped November 1st, wouldn't we like have to, that would be something that we should take in that month, be playing stuff in that mod, because that's just like a new game dropping, in my opinion. It's better than any game that drops, because we're going to have all these amazing AAA games to go into, even someone that we can go in together, which is cool.
So here's kind of my thinking on that. Obviously, we're going to need to evaluate it for the Mod of the Year award at the end of the year. But this is kind of why we take December off for the most part, is so that we can catch up on gameplay for the end of the year awards. And I'm in a pretty good place with the Game of the Year nominees so far. Like, I need to finish Village, but I'm close to finishing. I'm pretty far into Village, and I'm pretty close to finishing Vertigo as well. I finished the Saints and Sinners, so that one's done. And so I'm in a pretty good spot with the native VR releases. So I should be able to have a little bit of time to spend in the mods.
Do you think you're better than us because you're almost done with all those?
Well,
this man legitimately thinks that he is better than us.
Now, with that said, we've got Assassin's Creed coming. We've got Asgard's Wrath 2 coming. There's going to be plenty to play. But I think we should be able to find some time to play through the rest of the mods that we haven't tried yet, and the Unreal Engine mod. Hopefully it does come in November, because I mean, I guess if it comes in December, we'll treat it like a game that comes in December, right? Like that'll go on to the next year. That's right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're going to get lucky that you don't have to play Behemoth this year. It's not coming out now.
Yeah. What did you think about that? Like Behemoth, for those of you who don't know, was delayed by an entire year.
Oh, wow.
And what that says to me is, sorry about your luck, Quest 2. This game is not coming to you.
Nope.
Is
anybody surprised anyway? We haven't seen like any footage or anything. It was almost like
they showed this past week. They showed in-engine footage, so it isn't gameplay footage per se, but they showed some imagery that was done in the game engine. And Ruuts, it looks like that cinematic trailer. It looks fucking crazy.
Does it? Is that going to be a Quest 2 only, or Quest 3, I guess, only? It's not going to be on PC.
No, it's going to be on PC. It's going to be on PlayStation VR 2. They advertised it as coming to the Quest platform, and I guarantee you that a big part of I think there's two reasons that they've delayed it by a year. I mean, obviously, delaying it by a year is a significant thing. That isn't like, well, we need a few months to finish polishing it. That to me is, all right, we started off thinking we were going to make this, but now instead I think we're going to make that.
Right.
So I think they changed.
Yeah. I think that they saw an opportunity here to once again do what they do and make one of the best VR games ever. And they're going to shoot their shot. They're going to invest another year of resources into making it as good as they can. And I think, again, the other thing is what I mentioned a moment ago. I don't think we see this game as long as Meta is insisting that Quest 3 games also come to Quest 2. We won't see this game. And I think that they're anticipating that by December of 2024, that Meta is going to drop that requirement and let studios start to publish exclusives for Quest 3.
Yeah, if you go with history, that would be exact. It doesn't take this lifespan of these headsets aren't that long, so they're going to drop Quest 2 from the requirements of some of these games as soon as they can, which sucks for Quest 2 owners. But it is what it is. Eventually, things get phased out.
I wouldn't even be surprised if this is done in correlation with Meta. Like if Meta and Skydance was like, okay, look, they're like, we have this game, it's Behemoth, it's going to be a huge game for for Quest, for the platform, but there's no way we can get it to where we want it on Quest 2. How do we get it just to Quest 3? When do we need to do this? So I think it was probably that, and then it was probably too aggressive. I mean, it was going to come out this year, so this isn't. It's not like I said, it's a whole year. So this isn't like, oh, we just need some more time, or we just need polish. That's not that. This is they went into a complete different direction, or they decided that they wanted to hold it for for graphical reasons to go with a stronger headset, which I guarantee that's what it is.
Or they want to make a second build for the Quest 3 specifically. You know what I mean? That's another option as well. There's a lot of things, and this is the reality. It doesn't matter how long they take. They could take 10 years and deliver a good game. That's all that matters. Just because they brought it up and gave us a date doesn't give us fucking shit. That doesn't. People are so entitled. It's like, you told us this day, we want it. And then we turn around and say, well, this game you gave us is shit. I'm like, well, dude, which do you want? I'd rather wait patiently and get the amazing games that we know are coming. So, I think it's good news.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of more excited for it now. Now that I know that they're going to go for it and bring us a real next-gen game, that's exciting to me. Ruuts, you should have seen this picture, man. So it's a picture of this big behemoth monster thing, right? And there's people in front of it. But the people are running at you. They're not. It's not like they're helping you to defeat this thing. It's like they're like on the side of the monster fighting you. And this thing is so massive. It's covered in snow, and it's got like on its back, like there's trees and shit growing out of it. Like that's how big it is. It's like you could tell it was like a mountain that came to life and started attacking you. Like. That's how big the thing is. So,
that's crazy. That sounds cool.
Like, yeah. I think it's going to be something very unique to VR, and you know how powerful scale can be in VR.
Yeah,
and I think they're going to go all in on that, and I think it's going to be crazy.
That's exactly why I want to try that grounded game, because I think it's the size of a bug, and like everything is you know what I mean. I think would be super cool in VR.
Agreed. Anyways, we got lots of show to go. We were doing game of the month tonight. Lots of good stuff that came out in September. We're also following up on our episode 200 giveaway. We're giving away 4 more gift cards tonight. Oprah can't wait to start handing those out. But before we do that, we need to say hello to our friends in chat. Time to Play VR is here. He says, what Looper said. Well, what did Looper say? Looper said for us to show the image of Behemoth. Just Google it, guys. Just look it up.
It's too much, man.
Yeah.
Can't do that kind of stuff.
Michelle B is here. What's up? Lage SE. Good morning. Good to see you. Jeunesse C'est Quoi is here. Hello, Mepper. What's up? Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for life. It would be nice to know a developer from Skydance. Ask Tiffany, maybe.
That's true.
So Tiffany was in chat when Ryan was talking about it on their most recent episode, and she did make a comment. Because people were making comments about the image that was shown being in engine instead of gameplay. and Tiffany made a comment to the effect of, well, yeah, I could see why somebody would be skeptical about that, but in this case, it's pretty close to what the game is actually going to look like. So she didn't say it in that. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that was the inference that she made, was that, you know, this is what they're aiming for with the game, is to make it look like that. So
I'm gonna hold her to it.
good news. Yeah.
I'm going to hold her to it as well. And while you're saying that, we have all sorts of slippies coming in here, Wes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I guess we
Zaylen
should start over
Maru.
then.
Yeah.
Regos Pantaleon. Hello, Regos. Good to see you. Zaylen Maru, it's free VR real estate. Old Darth, what's up? All. Gilman's here. Geison's here. Looper the Underground Game Cat is here. VR Spry Guy. Black Market Honey. Techno Glitch. Who else is here? Zell 2318 says, I'm a bit late. You are right on time, friend. Philozix is here. Says, I'll get back in the Saints and Sinners with the Quest 3. Yeah, man, it looks pretty awesome. The footage that they've shown of it looks, I mean, it's not quite on the par with, you know, PC and PSVR, but it looks very similar. Like, it looks really good. Who else is here? Gabriel 004, the Licensing Me Out Game Cat is here. Black Market Honey, Mr. Lord Beavis is here as well. Assassin 32 VR. Has anyone ordered Quest 3 from Meta, received their email that it shipped? No, I wouldn't expect to get that email until tomorrow.
They won't go to them until tomorrow.
Tomorrow at the earliest, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Duggars K is here. Who else is here? Anybody know who else is here? Chatty's here. Hello, Chatty. Salute the Game Cat is here. Says, what's good, strangers? These games that we played today, man, pretty good. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Mind Jive's here. Mark Smith is here. Says, we live, baby. That's right, we are. Rogue TR is here. Hello. Rogue TR. Random Hero Guy 1 is here. Todd's here. What's up, Todd? Salvador. Hello, sir. Ryan B's here. Hello. Roy Schwartz here as well. Rex BK09 is here. Chinatown D, what up? Who else? Diego Darko's here.
John Savino says you forgot him.
Sorry, John Sabino. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Chad White's here as well. What's up, Chad White? Radio Runt, Idaho. Radio Runt says it better be a good one tonight. I'm not a fan of the Game of the Month shows. You're the one person that doesn't like Game of the Month, Radio Runt. Everyone else loves it.
Come on, man.
How dare you? How dare you, bro?
How dare you?
How dare you?
He's saying 50,000 other people are wrong?
Yes. I think
Right,
that's exactly what he's saying.
Four Willins here. Dan Kim is here. Samson 143. Is that really you, Samson? I want to talk to the real Samson. Like, yeah, shout out to Samson. The real Samson and the imposter. Shout out to both of you. James is here. Of course, James is here. James is always here. What's up, James? Mark Doust is here. Says, I'll try to stay awake for the show, but it's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, and I'm close to falling into a food coma. Well, happy Thanksgiving, Mark, and happy Thanksgiving, Todd, I suppose, then. And Zaylen Maru, I think, might be a Canadian as well. Am I right about that? I think so. Ryan Brandon is here. Says, I'll be sleeping, but have a great show. Well, okay. Fair enough. Mark Smith is here, and right at the top, about 5 hours ago, Paradise Decay says, I'll be in Dreamland, but have a great show. So thank you, PD. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and showing out this late Sunday night. Looks like we do have some more slippies, like Nathan. Nathan's here. And I think that's it. We already said hello to John Savino.
Speaking of
Old Darth.
John Savino. He wants to know will the Quest 3 kill PSVR 2 sales? I'll give you my answer and then I'll turn it to them too. I say no. Wes?
No, absolutely not. I mean, maybe to some extent. I mean, I'm sure it'll have some impact on it, but we've said it a million times. Like, Quest, Meta's trying to sell Quests to the general public. PlayStation's trying to sell PSVR 2s to people that have a PS5. And if somebody has a PS5 and they're interested in VR, they're going to buy a PSVR 2, even if they have a Quest. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, to a few individuals that have PS5 and don't have a ton of money, it might delay their purchase of a PSVR 2 for a little while. But no, I don't think it's going to have a major impact on PSVR 2 sales. It might have the opposite effect, actually.
I think it will a little bit until you see the next big PlayStation title come.
Right.
PlayStation VR 2 title.
Right.
So I think there will be a hit. I think you are going to get a few people that were on the fence about a PlayStation VR 2. They were like, man, I want to go get this brand new headset, and I'd rather just go do this now, and I don't see anything in the PlayStation VR 2 library that I'm like on fire about, so I'm going here. So I think you'll see some of that right now until you see that next big title, whether it's RE4 or it's something we haven't even known about yet, that just all of a sudden they're going to either announce or they're going to drop, and then that will light people on fire, and then PlayStation VR 2 sales will pick right back up.
It's going to be interesting, man, because, I mean, Quest is coming into the holiday season powered by Asgard's Wrath 2, which is a great big game, probably going to be one of the best games we ever saw, but general gaming public don't know what Asgard's Wrath is. What they do know is Assassin's Creed, and that's coming out in November. So basically, we're going to have Quest 2 powered by Assassin's Creed versus PSVR 2 going into the holiday, powered by RE4, which has been confirmed for 2023 in the most recent Sony blog post. So it's going to be an interesting holiday season, man. We've got AAA games, at least one on each of the new VR platforms, and we're going to see how it goes when all the dust settles. Anyway, I don't know. Ruuts is Oprah around? I think it might be time for us to get this show underway and start giving away some gift cards. There she is.
There she is. She's waiting. She's been waiting quietly and patiently. She is patient.
So we had, I think 64 people entered this giveaway this week, which is pretty big for us. When we do this, typically it's like 20 or 30. 64 people. So if you entered the second chance giveaway, you have a 1 in 64 chance of winning. And we're going to do this the way that we always do, by going to the random.org random number generator. And everyone has been assigned a number. Everyone who entered has a number that was assigned to them in the replies in the comments. And random.org is going to give us a number in a moment, and the name that corresponds with that number will win the gift card, $25 on the VR platform of your choice. So we're going to start with 1. We're going to max at 64. We're going to hit the generate button, and the winner is 42.
Oh, shit.
I love that guy.
Yeah, oh, man, me too.
Oh, no, wait, no, it's a girl. 42 is a girl.
Isn't that the answer from, what's it called? The Brian Adams. Douglas Adams. Isn't that the book? I can't think of what the name of that book is.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Somebody will say it in the chat. I'm pretty sure 42 is the answer.
Let's see here.
Yes, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I wanted to say So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, but that's the sequel. And I'm pretty sure the answer to the meaning of
42.
life is 42, according to that author, Douglas Adams, not Brian Adams.
Winner number 1 is Grimlock. Congratulations, Grimlock. You are the winner of a gift card.
Grimrock, he actually says, "Woot, Hitchhiker's Guide." He just commented that. How ironic is that? That's cool.
Sweet.
I like
For
this moment.
Grimrock. Grimrock
Yes.
23. So I'm assuming that's him.
I think that's actually 21. 23 was here last week, I think.
Grimrock 42.
So, yeah, sorry. You were looking
Change
for Grimlock 42, please.
So congratulations, Grimrock. You have won the fifth of 8 gift cards that we're giving away to celebrate our 200th episode, which was last Sunday. All right, cool. Congratulations, Grimrock. You are the winner, son. And stay tuned, ladies and gents. After we get through our first platform here, we'll pick another, and so on and so forth throughout the show. We're going to be drawing winners. So, woot! Congrats. All right, so let's talk about some VR games here, guys. This is what the name of the game. This is why we all showed up here, to talk about the game of the month. And let's start the way that we typically do, by talking about PlayStation VR2. We had 5 releases on PSVR 2 this month. Subsequently, we had 4 remakes of previously released titles, and 1 brand new title. So we're going to start with one of these remakes, and this was a game actually that never came to PSVR 1. So I was pretty happy for the PSVR 2 community when they got RUINSMAGUS Complete. And what that complete means is that it includes what was previously paid DLC. So there's extra content on this version of the game. And on top of that, it cost about $10 less than the base game used to cost on Steam and Quest. Eric, a very unique game here, very heavily inspired by the JRPG games of the past. Although this isn't technically a JRPG, you certainly get that vibe from the world, from the characters. Somewhat in how the game plays as well. It's cool, right? We don't have really anything else like this in VR.
This is a unique game. It really is, down to like the art style, the way, the mechanics, the way you play, and it does feel like a JRPG. I mean, even down to the voice acting, and like, you know, the sounds that the characters make. You know, you just feel, you get that like old school vibe when you play it, and it's a really good game. And man, I don't know how they did this. They put everything in this game, all the DLC, and they had a ton of DLC. And it's not just the game itself that has DLC. You know, the gameplay that has DLC. You have different costumes and different things that you can now dress up in, and different hats you can wear, and different weapons. And there's so much now that you all get with this PlayStation VR2 release. So there's a lot here. Like, you very rarely see a company do this, where they put everything in and then they make it cheaper.
Yeah, no, it's kind of nuts. Ruuts, not a ton of PSVR 2 specific improvements in terms of like how the game plays. This is still RUINSMAGUS. It still plays the same as it played on Steam and Quest. But I will say this: we've always kind of lauded this game for the way it looks. It's always been super crystal clear, very colorful game. But that kind of gets taken to another level on PlayStation VR 2 because of the OLED panel. This game is very well suited for that OLED panel, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many colors to pop. And like you guys were saying, this is like a very unique genre that doesn't exist in VR anywhere, even outside of PlayStation VR 2. This is definitely the best version. There's really not much you could get out of the haptics or anything else, like the adaptive triggers. This isn't that type of thing. I guess they could have added some adaptive triggers, but I mean, they don't really need to. This game.
That stuff's here. It's just not. It's not particularly
like a selling point.
Yeah, it's not like super profound. It's here, but it's kind of basic. Their implementation of it. It's not like super advanced like some of the other titles that we've seen.
Well, everything that you need out of it is there. I think that fact that they just recently added the voice acting, so you don't have to read everything, is amazing, right? Correct? Didn't they?
All right. Looper, the Underground Game Cat says Hellsweeper, Paper Beast, Crisis Brigade 2, RUINSMAGUS, Toss, Broken Edge, ALVO, A Fisherman's Tale. Which two of those 7 are you missing? All right. So Fisherman's Tale did not come out in September. And
Crisis Brigade 2 would be the other one.
Yeah, Crisis Brigade 2. I'm not sure why that's not on my list. Let me check here. If I had to guess, if it came out in September, it's probably not listed as such. The way I come up with my list for PSVR 2 releases is I go to the PSVR 2 store on PC. I sort by release date, new to old, and when I get to the end, the beginning of the month, then I stop. So sometimes that's not perfect because Sony's website sucks. So if I miss one, that's probably why.
Same day as ALVO, September 14th is what I'm reading on Google.
I think the best way moving forward is to go to xrupdate.com.
Yes.
It'll give you a complete list of all the game releases for the months prior and the months coming.
Absolutely.
Well, that would be true going forward, but we don't have that kind of history.
It's coming.
We don't have
executive
that
decisions
to fall back on.
just made right now, right here.
Just right
Boom.
now. That's it.
Crisis Brigade 2. Yeah, it's right. It just doesn't show up if you go to the PSVR 2 games and order them by release date. It just doesn't show up in the list at all. So
That's crazy.
Yeah. So sorry about that,
Cool.
but it's Sony's fault. I'm not taking responsibility for it.
Sony, what are you doing,
neither.
man?
And I've played it 400 times. I need to play it again, by this.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I don't feel like it would have made any kind of real difference to what's going to happen here.
I'm glad. Was Crisis Brigade on PSVR 1, or was this the first time it's been released on there at all?
Well, Crisis Brigade 1 was. The Crisis Brigade 2 was not, I don't think.
So, yeah, I'm glad that people can get a chance to play it now.
I could be wrong about that, but I don't. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it did come out on PSVR 1 now that I think about it. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't remember. I know Crisis Brigade 1 was. I'm not sure if 2 was or not. I played 2 on PC is where I played it at.
Yeah, me too. And Quest.
Boognish66 says I am not a number. And I see him as a 7. No, that's my problem. Like that's like when I see his name, I see 7. So
he's 66.
He's 60. That's true. He's 66. Never mind.
So Looper says both were. I think that I checked for A Fisherman's Tale, and I think that the PlayStation Store has it listed as out on August 31st. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that
I'm a big fan of Fisherman's Tale too. If it
the first one
in October,
no,
that might
this
change
is
things for me.
This is the first one. Not
Then what are we talking about? I could care less if it came out in this month or not. It's not making the list. It's not making my list, yo.
It's off. It's off the list, man.
Fisherman's Tale PS5, according to the PlayStation Store, it came out on August 31st, 2023.
That was so close, though. Are you sure? Maybe they're wrong.
It's possible.
Well, they left the other game off there completely, so
I know, right?
It doesn't instill confidence in me.
All right. So so that's the discrepancy. It's Crisis Brigade 2 and Fisherman's Tale didn't come out. So again, I don't feel like Crisis Brigade 2 is really going to stand up with the best of this month. I don't think it really stands up with RUINSMAGUS, to be honest. Yeah. It's fun, but it's very limited in what it does. But I guess the same is true of RUINSMAGUS as well, though, right? I mean, as fun as this game is, and it is a fun game, Eric, it does get repetitive, and after a few hours in it, you're kind of ready. You're ready. Like the boss fights are awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
but the kind of minutia in between, the labyrinths are kind of samey, the enemies are kind of samey. It is a bit challenging, which I appreciate. Um, I love the boss fights again. I love the scale of the bosses, and I like the look of the game in general. But 3 or 4 hours into this game, you're pretty much ready to be done with it, or at least that's how it was for me.
Yeah, I mean the story can help pull you along a little bit, but it's not particularly super deep either. But it will help kind of like get you through some of those like samey dungeons, because they do feel like after you've seen a few of them, it does feel like you're going back into the same type again. Um, and they have changed up some of the wardrobes a little bit different now that you can change, and some of the characters look a little bit different, and the boss battles are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
That will help you kind of get through later on, just trying to push through to get to some of these other boss battles. So, but yeah, I mean, it does get a bit repetitive for sure, in the gameplay and in the visuals. Because the gameplay, once you get all the mechanics down, it's kind of like rinse and repeat every time you go into the dungeon.
Yeah, for sure. But it's a solid title. I certainly recommend it at $30, and I do think that it does belong as a nominee on this list. It was a good title, one of the better ones that came out on PlayStation this month.
Definitely.
Moving along, Broken Edge also hit PSVR 2 this month. This is a game that was previously exclusive to Quest for a while. I think it's now playable on Steam as well as PlayStation VR 2. Eric, this is again a very unique game. Like we don't have anything else like this in VR. This is basically a fencing game. People call it sword fighting. This is a fencing game. It's all about it's all about precision and where you can score with the tip of your sword. But with that said, a very unique rule set to this. It isn't just a straight fencing simulation. It is a unique game with a unique rule set, unlike anything we've seen before. The idea is you're trying to strike your opponent's blade, and the point at where the two blades meet, the blades break, and you lose a piece of your sword. So you want to make sure that you're trying to score with the tip of your blade as close to your opponent's hilt as possible. And in addition to that, there are tons of special moves and abilities that you have. There's something like 9 character classes, all that have special abilities and special moves, different swords. There's actually a lot here, Eric, and this is a game that I didn't think I was going to enjoy at all, and I was actually pretty surprised at how good it was.
Yeah, this is a good game, man. I remember demoing this game at last year's Gamescom in Germany, and I had a chance to like fence with the developer, like the main developer, and he did the demo with me, and fenced with me, and like he was like a real person that he really fenced in real life, and you can kind of like learn how to fence from this game. Like I remember him telling me that they would have they brought in like real life fencers to help them with the moves, and the way you have to like because it's a you have to like move forward in the game. You have to block. It's not about just trying to overpower your enemy. You have to like know where your weak spots are. You have to like lunge in and forward. You have to kind of like look for an opening. But again, it's not even just about normal fencing either, because it's like a point system. It's not about just always getting a hit on the body. It's about breaking down the other person's blade. So the point system is based off how much blade you have left when the round is over. So if you're so just blocking will not get you a win. You have to block, and you have to block correctly on the other person's sword, and then whoever has the bigger blade at the end of the rounds kind of wins this whole thing. So there's a lot to this, and like what you said about the classes, there are like 9 different classes that you can use, and every one of them plays different. Like there's like a knight in here that has a huge heavy sword and has to be wielded two-handed completely. It's much slower, but it does more damage to the sword. So but you're going to have a tougher time parrying and blocking with the bigger sword. So there's just so many different ways to play. I actually really like this game too. It's a nice multiplayer game. My biggest complaint with the game, and it has always been the same thing, is it's the weird, and it's not bad graphics. The actual graphics look pretty good. It's the weird pastel-y colors that I just don't get and I don't
Yeah.
like. It just bothers me. It's not, and again, it's not. It's maybe it's just a personal thing with me. It's just I get in there and everything looks washed out because of the color that they're using. So that's one of the only complaints I have with this game, and it looks really good on the PlayStation VR 2. I just wish it was. I wish it had more vibrant colors and it wasn't so washed
Well,
out looking.
I'm going to be a little bit more critical than you here. And you're right. It looks like it was done with watercolors. Like it literally looks like it was done with pastel watercolors. Um, which I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the art style here. The problem I have with this Roots is, this is a game that was originally designed for Quest. Um, from what I can tell, zero graphical update coming in the PSVR 2. I mean, not even a resolution bump. It's kind of blurry and low res. The environments. I mean, the characters look all right. The environments look really blurry and low res. And I really don't think there's any reason for that. Like this is a like the PS5 should be able to run this at 120 frames with the upgraded 4K resolution, and it's just not there.
Especially if they're not going to change anything. I think I saw in the trailer, I could have sworn maybe maybe it was eye tracking. Well, if you're going to the trouble to use eye tracking, how about use foveated rendering and make it look super sharp and super
This game
crisp
doesn't
and
even
clean?
need that. It doesn't even need. I would be surprised if they even needed to use little tricks and stuff like this. This is a hand drawn game. Like it's pretty low
Then
detail.
what's the excuse then? My biggest problem
Yeah, I
with
don't
it
know.
is a little bit more even critical than you guys. I just don't like melee to begin with, and the thought of one-on-one melee fencing sounds horrible to me. But I see the appeal for a fencer. I see the appeal for somebody that like is really into this and it's authentic, and like if you legitimately know how to fence, you should be able to go in this thing and kick ass. You know what I mean? And it sounds like you can. And like they went to that extreme to really make it an authentic game. And I think that's what matters. I mean, what doesn't matter to me is whether I like the game, because I'm gonna like this game or not. That as long as it's got an appeal to its target audience, I think that's what matters. So
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a too keen on the idea of a one-on-one sword fighting game either. There was another game that came out on Quest. I don't even remember what it was called, but I never even tried it just because this sort of thing doesn't appeal to me. But
Vine
I will
Duel?
say, no, it was.
I can't think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember
You
what
know
it
what I'm
was
talking
either.
about. The
Till You
guys in
Fall?
our Discord. No, it's not
No.
until you follow it. It's a
Hmm.
1v1 sword fighting game.
1v1 sort of
It's
thing.
like in an arena. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
If I'm going to do
Um,
PvP, it needs to be at least with two people, because chances are I'm going to need somebody to carry me through the experience. I need that other person to win. It's not one-on-one. No bueno.
But
So,
what I will say is this, Root. So like the actual sword fighting part of it is just a part of the gameplay. There's a lot of strategy at play here with your abilities and how you choose to use them. Um, there's also a bit of a learning curve though. That's kind of the other big negative I have on it is like, so yeah, there's 9 character classes, all with their own unique abilities and special moves, different swords, different look, different fighting styles. Um, but they're all like completely unique. Like you have to learn how to play each one. They're so different from one another. Like there is no play this game for an hour or two and know how to play it. Like it's this is like 10 to 12 hours of learning before you really even get a firm grasp on the characters enough to really have a strategic duel with your opponent. So I feel like if you go into this and just went into public lobbies, which I never tried, I've always done like a private with a friend. I feel like you'd go in there, and if you had the misfortune of being paired with someone who had some experience in this game, that they're just going to fucking destroy you because there's so much to learn here and so much of playing. Iron Lights, thank you, Mind Job. That's the game I was
I
thinking.
remember that one. That was like a blast-on type of game, but with, where blast-ons with projectiles, Iron Lights is because you're fixed in a spot, right, with Iron Lights.
You want to play after the show? Iron Lights?
No, I'm down. Let's do it.
Anyway, my point is, Ruuts, is that this type of game that type of game doesn't really appeal to me either. But I was actually surprised at how much I did enjoy this. It was actually a pretty good game, way better than I thought it was going to be.
My problem with it is like you said, and it's kind of the same thing I would have a problem with the skater game, that type of stuff. Like, to be able to really enjoy this game, I'm going to have to dump in a lot of hours, and I'm going to have to learn a lot of shit about something I don't want to learn. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fencer, or I guess it's not fencing, they said in the chat. I don't like melee. I don't like melee in VR or flat. And so, like, to spend a bunch of time to learn, because I guarantee you're not just walking in there, especially from what you just said. If I go up against somebody else that knows what they're doing, and Ruuts, that doesn't do any tutorials, goes up against this person, what's going to happen, Wes? I'm going to get my ass kicked. So.
You can learn like one character class pretty quickly, but the problem is that there's 9 of them.
Oh god!
And it takes a while.
And certain classes probably outpower the others, so you kind of have to switch it up between, if somebody does different things. So.
PSVR 2 enthusiast says this game looks fun, but I tend to gravitate towards single player games more than multiplayer. Yeah, I'm the same, but I do enjoy a good multiplayer game from time to time, and that I think certainly fits the next game we're talking about fits that description. ALVO came out on the, I think, 14th of September. This again, a PSVR 2 updated version of an already existing game. A game, ALVO, that was originally a PSVR exclusive, eventually made its way to Quest, and then they unlocked crossplay between those two platforms. And now Ruuts, an upgraded version, launches for PSVR 2. It allows players to carry on their PSVR 1 progress, so nobody's starting all over again here. And crossplay, fully available on day one at launch. Ruuts, we had an opportunity to play some ALVO this month, and we had a good time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we were all shocked at how many maps they had. They had different modes. Everything that was good about it to begin with was there. Plus, it was even more refined and better than when it first released. And it's definitely the best version, in my opinion, is on the PSVR 2 platform because of everything else, the haptics, the adaptive triggers. D killing it in that game. I still need to get in there and beat her. And I'm not supposed to tell you this, Wes, but you might want to check your records on Zombieland.
Oh, really?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
what did she take over 1 or 2 of the levels or something?
And she may or may not have completely wiped everybody off the map on several different difficulties.
Wow.
And is working her way through the other ones. D, I'm sorry, I had to tell.
Wow.
Yeah, this is what happens when I take 2 months off from a game. D quietly cleans up.
You got to move on eventually.
Wow, this is the
I'm
thing.
I'm on to the next leaderboard game that we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
I love to stir the stick though, because I don't have to play and I just get to watch both people just crush it.
Right. Eric, I think what Ruuts said is true. I think this is the best version of ALVO that we've seen yet, which is kind of crazy to think about because we know what's coming to ALVO, and they are far from finished with this game.
Oh my god!
I mean, pretty soon there's some pretty basic updates coming to it, like with the maps getting like a pretty substantial makeover. But beyond that, I mean, there's new content coming to this game, and just some completely sideways things that people aren't even expecting coming to it. But that's for a different episode, a different conversation. We're here to judge the game as it is now, and I mean, this is the one multiplayer shooter that came out on PSVR 2 over the last couple of months that really not that many people had much to complain about.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great game, and we've talked about ALVO a lot. I mean, it's the fast, gameplay, that you love. It's got zombies, it's got perk system, it's got a kill streak system. The maps are super cool. It looks beautiful on this headset. The guns are great. They feel great when you shoot them. These games are, there are a lot of these games out there, or at least on most of the platforms. And I guess on the PlayStation VR2, there's not a ton, but getting them wrong is super easy. Like a lot of these get them wrong. Like, either the guns don't feel right, or they feel too slow, or the graphics aren't great, or the maps are boring, or there's not enough different types of gameplay, whether it be, zombies, or, control point, or, free for all, whatever. I mean, there's a lot here to do. And like I said, the difference in the guns all feel great. They shoot really well. They have a different feel to them. You can change your loadouts, but the sliding mechanic, the movement here is super fast. It's just a lot of fun, and it's getting more and more people in it. So in turn, the lobbies are full fast. You don't have to wait a ton of time. And Wes, what you just said, I mean, there's a ton of stuff coming, and one of the biggest things that's going to be coming is another platform, because they are right around the corner to having the Steam version ready. And that'll bring in a whole new group of people when we have Quest and Steam and Pico and PlayStation VR2 all crossplay. I mean, the more people you get in here, the better it's going to be.
Yeah. Steam's right around the corner, and it will also support cross-platform play at launch, which is fucking awesome. And this game's just going to continue to get better. Roots, one of the things I like the most about it is the diversity in the gameplay modes. And there are more coming, but there are 5 different gameplay modes here, whether you're talking about free-for-all and team deathmatch. There's a control point mode, which is pretty awesome. There's another mode. I don't know the name of all the game modes, but there's another mode that kind of plays like Firewall. There's a lot more going on here than with your typical multiplayer shooter on PSVR.
Yeah, that's awesome. This game was already amazing to begin with, and adding that extra stuff is going to make it so much more. And like you're right, the different modes makes it, and that's what I'm always screaming about. Like, it's great to have 1 mode or 2 modes, but you need 5 or 6. You can't have too many. Here's the thing, unless the game, I guess, with all the different platforms, you'll have more headway, or I guess leeway. You don't want to split the audience too much to where you're now running into dead lobbies, right? So that's got to be a consideration. That's one of the things that I was worried about Population 1 with the custom lobbies. Because anytime you allow people to create too much custom, or it just kind of, it's the same way Firewall doesn't allow you to level up. They want people in the lobbies, and so you kind of have to keep that in mind. Now, my question is, for me, because I'm going to start gravitate, I want to gravitate, or I'm going to gravitate towards Steam. Sharpness, with the pancake lenses, even though I'm going to be slum it with the Quest Pro, not the Quest 3. But having that extra, graphical power pushing has got to be something, right? Like, I don't know. We'll see. So.
PSVR 2 enthusiast says so. It's worth the $5 upgrade. Then,
yes,
it's definitely worth the $5 upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the thing. The $5 thing that I think I should have charged 10 or 15. The $5 is kind of like an obligatory. We need a little bit of money. It's such a good port, and it's I mean, you're talking about PSVR 2 versus PSVR 1. That's a big difference, right? So
now you might miss your aim controller. But those people who are playing on PSVR 1 that love their aim controller might miss it. But we literally just got or we're starting to get our gun stocks in. Roots, did you get your Pro 2?
I did. I attached the controllers, trying to get used to it because it's a little different, but it's definitely definitely cool.
So when I say we, there's a group of us, and I don't want to put everybody's name out there, but that we're going to be trying out all of these games with the gun stock, and I'm going to see if I can recreate that aim controller experience. And ALVO will be one of the games that has a better chance of it, because one of the things about ALVO, Eric, is there's versatility in the control options, right? Like you can do everything manually if you want to, but they also have options for like automatic reloading and things like that, which would allow us to take our gun stocks, slot our controllers in there, and just play like it was an aim controller.
Yeah, absolutely. If you miss the aim controller, you can make your own, basically make your own aim controller. And the controls that they allow you to do in here, you can change everything to the way, the pitch of the gun sits and feels. So if you have different types of gun stocks that you're using on your PlayStation VR2, and maybe it doesn't line up exactly right, and the tip of the gun, instead of being, here, is now down here or is up here, you can actually go in and change it like you can in Contractors, and you can actually change where the gun sits to have it dialed in perfectly for whatever setup you have. So I can tell you, for games like this, you need a gun stock or some type of gun stock. I'm looking forward to trying, the ProTube one too. I've tried the Mr. Task quick aim, which I really like. But there's a couple different ones that you can try. I mean, ProTube's got one. iStock has one. Mr. Task has one. Vader has one. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they're out there, and I think even Mammoth has made one now for the PlayStation VR2. So they're out there, and just keep an eye out to see which one is the best. I mean, everybody has their different ones they like, but I think a gun stock is really the way to play with this one. But make sure it's one you get. Like I like the quick aim one because I wanted the reload needs to be fast. You know what I mean? So.
Well, Old Darth says, does that include the aim waggle to reset it? And that's the thing that it's like, we have to remember the aim controller was awesome in a lot of ways, but we romanticize it because I've said it before, it was like the only way you could ever have locomotion in a game. Like that was the way, right? Like in these shooters, you got to be like that. You had real VR. You got to run around and fucking really be in there. And now that you can do that with the other controllers, I prefer not. I mean, I don't. Maybe with a gun stock it'd be cool, but I'm like Eric. I prefer to have them separate. I'd rather have a quick aim or even just not have a gun stock at all, and really just have a reticle. I think that makes more of a difference to me. But I'm gonna find out because we're gonna be trying out these gun stocks, and I might be singing the tunes of this ProTube.
PSVR2 enthusiast says, nice. I'd like to get a gun stock in the future. Any recommendations on which stock is best from which you've compared? That would be great. So we're just now starting to scratch the surface with this stuff. Like we're starting on ProTube. We certainly welcome any other gun stock manufacturers that want to send us samples our way. We'll take a look at it. I know that Brian and AJ are going to be looking at a few different ones. So be sure to watch Without Parole on PSVR Underground in the coming months. And we're just now starting. And this isn't something that you can just do for an hour and have an opinion on. It takes time to learn a gun stock and get used to using one. So, yeah, right around Christmas time or so, we should have a pretty solid recommendation, at least with regard to the ProTube Mag Tube, which is the one that we're testing.
Yeah, that one's just going to be fine-tuning because you have all those different things you have to Allen wrench, like kind of adjust it, get it set and perfect, right? So,
right. But yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell, and we will definitely be getting back around to this topic. But I digress. We did have one brand new release that hit PSVR2 this month that hadn't been previously released on other VR platforms, and that release was Hellsweeper VR. And we decided not to go on Friday and rather take the time over the weekend to play the games that came out so we could have an informed opinion on Sunday when we do Game of the Month. And I got to say that I'm glad that I did, Ruuts, because I played Hellsweeper on PSVR 2 when it launched. and it looked pretty bad. I mean, it looked terrible. It looked like a poor PSVR 1 game. Like, it was very, very blurry. There was shimmer and jaggies everywhere. So I'm glad we took the extra time, because had we not done that, I would be shitting all over this version of Hellsweeper now. But since I got in there today and played it on PSVR 2, I can honestly sit here and say that this is one of the best games that came out this year. Did you have a chance to check out PSVR 2's version of Hellsweeper, Ruuts?
I did, but I didn't get the first time around. I know you were saying that as
Okay.
well, Eric. So I didn't get a chance to check out what it was like. But I agree. I don't was having problems seeing what everybody was complaining about, like you were saying, Eric.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see it. It actually looked good. Obviously not as good as the PC version, but still better than it apparently was in its state. On state.
Eric, I would compare this, if we're talking about graphics. I would say now, in its current state, after it's had the update, I would put this in the category as like an after the fall. So, like, in terms of like graphical detail, it's not quite on the par with the PC version of Hellsweeper, but it looks pretty dang good, and there's a lot that comes with the OLED panel that adds to it in ways that, you know, some of these LCD headsets don't. So I mean, it looks pretty good on PSVR now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. As Ruuts said, I did not get a chance to check it when it first came out, and people were killing this game when it came out. Like, it was so bad. So when I went in there, I went in with super low expectations. I knew they did a patch, but I didn't realize how much of a patch, because I went in there and I'm like, I don't see it. I mean, this looks pretty good. Like, I don't see what people were complaining about. Now, it is not the PC version for sure. To me, it's like somewhere in between the Quest version and the PC version. I mean, it's pretty close though to me. I think it looks pretty good. Like you said, the trade-offs for me, like with the colors, you know, with the OLED lenses, I think it looks pretty damn good. And the way that, you know, the way that this kind of like, you know, hell area, you know, kind of lends itself to these darks and reds and, you know, blacks. And I mean, it looks really, really good in here. So I thought it looked great. So I was like, I don't see the patch they must have done must have been really, really good. Like, to me, I'm like, and this was just after launch. I mean, I wish they would have just launched it the right way. Like, they just hurt themselves so badly, because literally so many people were saying that this looked so bad that don't even bother to look at it and go in there. And when I go in now and look at it, I'm like, wow, I don't see that at all. And the gameplay is all here from the PC version. So I don't get that it was that bad. So, you know, this patch must have been like one of the best patches ever, because I just don't see it now. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. It plays great. You know, it's a little bit of a trade-off graphically, but I mean, the haptics and triggers feel great in this game, right? Like, there's definitely some advantages to playing this thing on your console.
Yeah, definitely. I like it. I mean, to me, it's the graphics are so close now. I would have to like I still I think the PC version is probably the better version, but I don't know if I would definitively say I would recommend that over one of theirs, because again, there's a trade off here, and I do like the haptics and the controllers. I do like playing on the PlayStation, and then the colors are really good. So maybe you get a little bit better clarity on the PC, but I think the colors are better on the PlayStation. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I it's tough for me to say which one is better now, but I mean, I probably the PC is still better, but there's no reason you should not be playing this game now. So, like, if you were like holding on because you didn't know if you should play it here or not, and you don't have a PC and you don't have a Quest, you should buy this game immediately. You're gonna freaking love it, because the game itself is here, and there's been no question of whether this is a good game or not. I guess it was just what it looked like in the PlayStation VR2, because everything played. I think I don't remember hearing anybody say anything about how it played. And I went in and played a lot of this game on PlayStation, and it all plays great here. Like, all the controls seem good. I loved every minute of it.
Ruuts, the movement in this game, unparalleled in VR. Like, you can do so much cool shit in this, whether it's the double jumping or the wall running or the flipping. Um, that's probably my favorite thing about this game, and there's a lot to like here, but the aerial movement in this game is just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the sort of Sariento and stuff, but actually better because the game is better, in my opinion. But the movement is, in my opinion, is everything in this game. It's like there's a lot of things you can't do in real life that you try to recreate in VR, and in this kind of badass movement style. There's not many games that pull it off, right? And this is really good. I definitely think that for me anyway, aside from the badass ways you get to slice everything in half, the movement is probably one of the best things about this game.
Yeah, and in addition to the groundbreaking movement system, Eric, incredible depth of progression in this game, right? Like this is a game, it's a roguelike game, which is starting to kind of get a little played out. There's so many of these games coming out now, but this one is particularly exceptional in all the different things that you can unlock. The fucking difficulty level of the boss fights. I mean, this is a game like this is one of those games like if you don't have a lot of money and you want to buy a game that can really last you for a little while, this is one of those games that you can just grind on forever, I feel like, and it'll never really get old, you know.
Yeah, I this game is so damn good, man. I love roguelites, so it's easy for me to get into a game like this, and the movement is so damn good. Like the slide, you guys use the slide? Like I love the slide. Like it's so easy to pull off, and you can, if you get it and you time it right, and you slide into the enemies as you jump and dash, you can use your sword and just mow down multiple enemies with this slide maneuver. I find myself using that a ton of time. And even like the flip, I find myself using, because with the flip you get free, like a free slow down of time to where you can kind of, when you're in the flip, you can really start to aim and shoot at enemies. So I don't know, I really like this game a lot. I like that I can either shoot, I can use the gun and the, if I just want to go shooting, I can shoot. If I want to use both the blade and the gun, I can is awesome. I love that
And
you
the
can
magic.
combine your fire and your magic to your gun. Like
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
freaking love, man. The first time I started using the fire with the gun, and then like you just kind of like combine the two together, grab fire in one hand and your gun in the other, and you just kind of like jam them together, and all of a sudden you got fire rounds. I'm like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's seamless, right? There's three modes of gameplay, right? There's shooting, there's melee, and there's magic, and you can seamlessly combine these things. So like I'll play differently depending on where I'm at. Like if I'm on the ground, I typically like to shoot projectiles, right? So I'll grab my gun or I'll throw fireballs. But the minute I take to the air, I grab that sword, son, and I'll come right down on their head and split them in two. Like that's the thing. Like there is a bit of a learning curve here because there's so many different possibilities with how you can play the game. But once you start to get a little practice under your belt and get to where the moves are second nature, it's just I think last time we talked about it, I called it like a symphony of destruction. It's like a symphony of destruction, man. Like you can really kind of zone out on it and just make it rain blood in hell. Which
The
is pretty awesome.
good news is it's a roguelite, right? So you're basically going to get a lot of practice. You don't have to practice. You're going to be doing it just like any other good game like this. You get better, you progress, you get stronger, and you start doing better. And I guarantee you're going to be learning in that time frame. So not only are you getting stronger, but you're actually getting more badass. And that's where the coolness in this type of game comes in, right? Is once you really do get good with your movement, you're going to be crazy. You're going to be John Wicking it all over that place. That's going to be badass. So I think it's cool.
You'd be John Wicked.
Wicked.
That's right.
I would recommend that you do the advanced movement stuff
Tutorial
right away, though. Yeah, because like you can skip it and you can just go with. So like if you jump in the game for the first time, it'll put you through some basic tutorials for basic movements, and then it'll say, do you want to just start a run, or do you want to go through and do the advanced movement? I would learn the advanced movement right from the bat, because even if you don't use it all right away, at least you'll start to know what's there. And as you go into your runs, you'll start to use pieces of them. You might not know them all immediately because there's a lot. Like, there is a lot here. I mean, there's wall running, there's in-air dashes, there's the double jump, there's a slide that I talked about, you know what I mean? Then there's juggling of, as you're, hitting the enemies, you can kind of juggle them and shoot them and slice them at the same time. And there's a flip. There's so much here, but I would try and at least learn the basics of it, all of it up front, and then just use little pieces of it when you can. And then you'll find yourself like sticking, grabbing parts of it, as you go through. Like, you'll start to use the wall run all of a sudden, or you'll start to use the midair dash because it gets you out of trouble real fast, or you can hit multiple enemies with it. So you'll find yourself using that stuff as you go. And then it'll become second nature. It's just one of those games where it's a lot to pick up, but you'll kind of like start to get it pretty quickly as you go through some of these runs. So, yeah, I would learn it all right away.
How risky is it to play Hellsweeper with a cable? Log A wants to say.
I play it seated. I don't even stand up to play it.
I was just thinking, if you do, I guess as long as you don't backflip. Actually, I want to address the fact that Rex BK09 has dropped several keys and just keeps dropping them.
Yeah,
Demio,
man.
Steam key, and the
Nice.
key drop in the chat there.
Damn, that's a good one.
Demio. That's a really good
Yeah.
one.
Thank you, Rex. You are awesome, my friend. Taking up the mantle with the absence of Mickey Barrios, Rex picking it up and bringing the high quality Steam keys. So thank you. That's awesome.
Oh, that's another thing too. Time to play VR. Good point. I completely forgot about the levitation. You can levitate all your weapons and just spin them in air and have them like cut through like hordes of enemies as you come. When you get good at the levitation, that can really be a way, especially when you get some of the enemies that are kind of like above you a little bit. You can like do all kinds of damage with the levitation.
That's
And
crazy.
don't forget about the dog. The hell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much to this game. Typically these type of like roguelike games aren't my favorite. But this one is just so well done that I don't mind the grind, man. The grind is fun because of the infinite possibilities of the way that you can tackle each level. It's all randomized pretty well, but on top of the game randomizing the levels, you're randomizing how you fight with all these different potential possibilities. And like we mentioned before, it looks good, it sounds good, it plays good. It's just really an exceptional title here. And I'm so glad that they fixed it as quickly as they did, because it would have been really unfortunate if we had had to do this with the original version of the game. So.
Well, and what sucks though is it did come out in that state, and whatever happened to make that happen, hopefully they learn from it, never happens again, because there's a whole handful of people that maybe were looking to buy this game and heard saw bad reviews that first week, will never go back. And how much did they lose for that? And how much did the person lose by not now playing this amazing game? It's a lose-lose situation for everybody, and developers should take note and try to do everything they can to avoid whatever happened to make it happen. So,
agreed. Yeah, it was kind of shady, man. They didn't even send out PSVR release keys for this. Like, we had to buy this game, and I mean, I had to buy it. Like AJ and Brian, we all had to buy it because they just didn't send keys out for it, because they knew they knew what it was, and they apologized for it the day after it came out. Like, they let people keep their pre-orders and apologize the next day, and I would be giving them a much harder time about that if they didn't fix the game so quickly. So
yeah. At least the people that feel like they got stuck with the game shouldn't feel that way now, because it's in a better state. It just sucks.
Good. It's supposed to, and they're promising it's going to get better too. Like their description of that first patch was just them making some preliminary graphical upgrades, and the bigger upgrades are coming later. So,
and
it's just unfortunate. Like, they keep doing this. Like, this is not just them. I mean, it seems like almost every game now. We see so many that are just not they go through QA too early, and then they have these patches ready to go because they're locked, right? We know they're locked. Like, but instead of going through QA with a game that you know is not right, don't put it through QA yet. Wait. Like, this game needed another week or two, but I mean, I'm sure timelines got them in trouble, and they wanted to get out before a certain date. But I don't know. The damage is done here. Like, how many people are just going to be off this game now? You know what I mean? We're trying to like help them, right? Like, we're at the point now where we're like, look, it's really really good. You know, it's not. But they did this damage to themselves. Like, if they just waited a little bit longer, and we do it. We're talking about it with almost every game now. It seems like we're having to like make excuses for every game because it's not perfect and it needs a patch, and this just wasn't the case. You know, before I just don't, unless it was a Steam early access, I don't remember games coming out this broken to where people are just like up in arms about how shitty they look. Like,
right.
And this patch was done within a week, so that means they had it ready. That I just needed to wait a little bit longer.
Well, shame on the people too. Anybody out there, myself included. Like, we just need to send a message, in a sense, to Sony, to these developers. Just don't buy the pre-orders anymore. No more pre-orders. No more pre-orders from Sony, because you can't get your money back. You're fucked. Like, Steam will give you your money back. Sony won't, you know? So, like, why not just wait a day, 2 days, see if the game sucks, and let that, you know, and let maybe Sony starts changing it, because I can't even leave a review on Sony's website to warn somebody if there is an issue. So there's just a lot of things that I think could be changed or should be changed. Sony should have to do what everybody else is doing and give people a refund to some extent, at least for if anything, pre-orders. You know, it just sucks.
There's some stuff that really needs to change with the PlayStation ecosystem. I do think that the refund system is certainly one of those things. I would also say that charging people to play online is a pretty shitty thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's free everywhere else, so like, yeah. And they just raised the price of it too. That's even worse. Like, now you have to pay a lot more for PS Plus. So
yeah, it's just not. And that, I mean, they can say that they're preserving their servers. They've got better servers, whatever. They can make that argument. They just can't make an argument on this, on how, you know, I just think it'd be better. So
Vertigo just seems to have a tough time with PlayStation VR2 launches. They just do. Seems like they just don't know how to get it exactly right in the beginning, and they have to take time. I mean, makes me a little nervous for what's the game coming from Vertigo? Oh, I'm losing it now. What's the zombie game coming from Vertigo? Arizona Sunshine 2. Yeah. I'm a little worried about that version now for the PlayStation VR2. It just seems like they did the same thing with After the Fall. After the Fall was garbage for PlayStation when it came out too.
It was dog shit. Like, it was bad. Like, you know, we talk about Hellsweeper, the way it launched on PlayStation. At least it played good. You know, it looked bad, but it played like Hellsweeper. Like, After the Fall on PlayStation VR 1, it was not playable. Like, it was
the controls were backwards or something, right?
Yeah. They were terrible. Like, it was bad. So I actually am a little bit less worried about Arizona Sunshine 2 because of that. Like, they got roasted so hard for that. I really honestly don't think they'll make that mistake again. I think they'll.
Yet they let it happen with this one. You know what I mean? I know they're just the publishers of this one, but still, you know, the publishers have a big say in what happens and what the game looks like when it comes out. And I don't know. Vertigo makes me nervous.
It was graphics, and they did give a little bit. And again, this was Mixed Realms that developed this game, not Vertigo.
Vertigo's the publisher.
And they gave a little bit of an explanation, and their thing was, and again, this is not an excuse, but this is what they said. They said they had an option fairly late in the development cycle with regard to the graphics. Do they want to put out a version that is closer to the Quest version, that doesn't have as much detail, but is a lot more clear in terms of clarity? Or do they want to aspire to something that's more like the PC version and just release it in a state where it's not finished? And they chose to go for the PC version. over the Quest version, and they just weren't ready for launch the day that it went out. That's what they said. So
where's option 3, which is hold it and make the PlayStation version the best
Where is
version?
option?
Why are we choosing the two shitty options? There's one option that should be, and that's 3, and it's not even on the table.
And the explanation of options, in general, like, why is that the consumer's problem? If I'm going to spend money on a game, I just want the game to work on day one, look good on day one. There's a lot of reasons, and a lot of them are legitimate, but as a consumer, none of those are my problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird pickle to be in as a developer, but at the same time, like, there's just happening so much that, like, people need to start getting pissed because they've just decided that it's no big deal. We'll just roll the patch out. People will just accept it. And apparently as a whole, we do. And it kind of sucks,
Jim Hall with the correction, and he's right. He says Microsoft and Nintendo also charge for online play. That's correct. It's a console thing, right? Like consoles, you have to pay to play online. That's true. Anyway, Hellsweeper, that was not the last one on the list. We did have another release on PSVR 2 this month, and it was another remake of Paper Beast. And whether or not Paper Beast is a good game just depends on who you ask. If you ask me, again, as has been the case with a couple of these titles we've already talked about, it's a very unique exploration game. It's different to anything else that you see in the VR library, and it's that uniqueness that kind of always drew me to this game. I really enjoy Paper Beast. I think it's a good game. It's fun. It's very chill. It's a good way to get in and relax, and it's just challenging enough to keep you engaged mentally. Not a big upgrade over the PSVR 1 version of the game. Slight graphical upgrade, but probably not as much as there should have been. Like, it should be sharper. It's a bit soft visually. But the biggest upgrade, Eric, being full locomotion. You can walk around now in this game rather than teleport. So that's kind of a big upgrade. But what did you think about Paper Beast? Were you a fan of this game, or are you one of the naysayers?
I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't, I thought it was a cool game. It looks cool. It's different. Like, if you give me a game that's at least different, you know what I mean? That gives it's unique in some way and it looks good. It's not something I would always jump to get back into because it's not exactly my type of game, but I liked it because it's unique. And it's graphically a beautiful game. And it's got a cool story. So I kind of liked it. And I did go in and check this out because I wanted to see what it looked like with the PlayStation VR 2 because of the OLED lenses. And, it is not a huge upgrade from the PlayStation VR 1 version. It is a little blurry in spots, kind of the same way you'll see on the PlayStation VR 1. But the colors, like, I don't know if you noticed the colors, Wes, they pop now. They're like, wow. And that's what I thought would happen, and that's what it is. And the locomotion, the new locomotion's fantastic. Again, if you like this game, you're going to absolutely love it on PlayStation VR 2 because, it's going to look, the colors are going to look beautiful and it has a new motion system. If you weren't a huge Paper Beast fan, there's not much more here for you here. I do like that the upgrade is it's only like $3 or something like that, right? So I do like that the upgrade is cheap. So if you like the game, I think I would definitely probably upgrade because it does look really good with the OLED lenses.
Yeah, agreed. PSVR 2 enthusiast said, I read in the description of Paper Beast that there's binaural audio to keep you immersed in the game. Any comments on this? Yeah, I think, Ruuts, that in terms of an artistic production, this game is pretty top notch. Now, it's again, like Eric said, it's not the sharpest visually, but the art style is very unique. The sound is incredible. Even the AI with like the beasts themselves, they seem to have personality, and it's an alien world made out of paper for you to explore. You have any thoughts on Paper Beats, Ruuts?
I really loved the game originally in general, just because it's It's unique. It's telling a story that you don't even realize it's telling a story as you're going along and you're kind of figuring things out. I just thought it was super cool. I just think it's kind of a bummer that um, we have the technology in that headset to have this game be fucking sharp as crystal clear, and it's not. You know what I mean? And this is that we shouldn't be talking about games as they're looking soft. You know, like that was PSVR 1. We have the gen now, the tech to make that better. And I guess the water and the sand look better from what people in the chat are saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just a
We need
it's
to be
just
clear about that.
it's just
That it does.
disappointing. Oh, go ahead.
We need to be clear about that. It does look better than the PSVR 1 version of the game. It doesn't look as good as it could, and we know that it could be better.
I just wish developers. I guess maybe every developer is not equal. The good developers, and I'm not saying these ones aren't good because their game is really cool, but the really good ones they're gonna release this thing, and they're gonna use everything, the foveated rendering that can allow your game to look super sharp, just like PCVR. Because that's what the PlayStation VR2 delivers over the PlayStation VR 1. You could never get that with the first generation. And so I just think it's a partial miss. And so but yeah, it's definitely a good game, definitely worth playing, but I could never give it game of the month for me because of that reason. It's not. It could have been way better. So
Yeah, agreed. EAE says, will we ever get a Blood and Truth remaster on PSVR 2?
Ooh.
You would
I
think so,
hope.
right? You
Oh
would
my
think
God,
so.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
Could you imagine playing that game with like full locomotion and like being able to walk and run around in it and
Yeah,
actually
that'd be awesome.
That would
explore
be awesome.
it fully? That would be cool. So yeah, Eric, I don't think there's any question what the game of the month on PlayStation VR2 was, but I think that it is a pretty awesome month when you consider just how unique all of these games are. RUINSMAGUS is very unique. Broken Edge is very unique. Even ALVO in some ways is unique, but Hellsweeper, again, nothing like it. Paper Beast, nothing like it. It was a nice, solid month for PSVR2 as a platform, and even if you want to throw Crisis Brigade in there as well, I mean, like again, a pretty unique game. Solid month for PSVR2, but I think there's a pretty clear winner here, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and it was a really good month for PlayStation VR 2. I mean, I've been getting on PlayStation just for like having a whole bunch of misses and not having anything really great. But, if you own a PlayStation VR 2, there was a lot for you to play in September. And there was a lot of good games. My only caveat here with what we think is going to be game of the month is I am very close to thinking that I don't want to give game of the month to games that come out broken anymore. And if they hadn't patched it so quickly, I probably would be more apt to not want to do it. But and I probably will end up going with Hellsweeper for game of the month over ALVO. But man, it's close. Like there's part of me that wants to part of me wants to smack them a little bit and say, you know what, you should have been game of the month, but you fucked it up, and now you're not game of the month. You know what I mean? And so there's a part of me that wants to do that. Because I think it's deserved that you shouldn't be able to launch a game that's not perfect, that's kind of like rushed, and then you shouldn't get game of the month because of that.
Well, what about the fact that they deliberately didn't give keys out, and then that's a big part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
absolutely,
that's preserving the pre-order is what it was doing. That to me, that's all it was all about. Was like
100%.
It's like we got to get the pre-orders, and we're gonna fix. And I can see the argument. We're gonna fix it. They're still gonna get the good game, but
and that specifically is something that's Vertigo Games.
Yeah,
Mixed Realms is the one delivering a title that is literally days away from being finished. It's Vertigo Games that makes the decision that, all right, we're going to go with it. We're going to launch it. We're not going to delay. We're going to hold review keys back and leave pre-orders open. That's all Vertigo Games.
100%. Yeah, and it's just sloppiness, and it's like if we again if we keep doing it, they're just going to keep doing it, right? Like if we keep buying it and keep giving them game of the month, and keep giving them signals that it's okay, then they'll just keep doing it, and it won't just be Vertigo; it'll be somebody else. I mean, it's not just Vertigo. I mean, we've seen other games this whole year from not just ports, lazy ports, from Incuvo, and it's just if we keep eating it, they're going to keep serving it to us, and that's what's happening right now. So this game is so freaking good that I don't think I could stop it from giving game of the month, but man, there's a part of me that wants to.
My thought is it's easy for me to give even without that whole thing. I think ALVO's the better game. I think we have a multiplayer that actually got released in a full fleshed form on every platform and has several, I don't know how many maps, different modes. It's just we don't have that in any releases for multiplayer games anymore. And I just I don't know. That's my choice. But it doesn't help that that Vertigo Games did what they did.
We have
Nice.
a bit of a controversy here because I tend to agree with you, Eric. Like I really like ALVO and I think it's really good, but in the context of what Game of the Month is about, and what Game of the Month is about is nominating games for Game of the Year, and I only see one game in this group that's could possibly be in that conversation, and that's Hellsweeper to me. But Silver Nexus says if ALVO came out better, then it's the better game. Well, I mean, if ALVO came out better, it was the better game, right? We need to be clear here that with Hellsweeper, we're talking about graphical issues only. The gameplay and all the stuff that we lauded this game for, the progression, all of that stuff was there on launch, and the graphics were there in literally just a few days. But for what it's worth, the chat seems to agree with Ruuts. And the chat has ALVO at 55% as the game of the month. So that, my friend, is what we call
that is a pickle.
That is what we call a standoff. That is a draw, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, you could put them both in there for game of the year, game of the month, and runner up.
I'll change my vote right now, and I'll do it. I'll smack Vertigo and the developer right in the face and say, you should have got this, but you're not getting it because you released a shitty game in the beginning, and it's too late. It's too late to put the patch on it, and I'll give it to ALVO.
There you go.
Because I love ALVO. Like, to me, it was close. Like, ALVO's great. I mean, I am a first-person shooter guy, and ALVO is fantastic. But I do think that Hellsweeper could be Game of the Year. But I'll stand on it right now, man. I'll say I'm not gonna give it to Hellsweeper because of the way they launched it.
Okay, so since you said that Hellsweeper could be Game of the Year, then I think it makes sense then to do what Tatum says and at least call Hellsweeper the runner-up.
Right.
Here, right.
I think that it's fair to keep them in there for that. If anything, to embarrass them when they try to go up against Resident Evil and Gran Turismo and because that's the honest thing. Where this is PlayStation, we're talking about. This is not Quest 2 category.
Right.
Like almost none of these games are going to go up against these big boys, but they're going to be like right underneath them. Because it's fucking Resident Evil, you know what I mean? Like, or Gran Turismo.
Yeah, you're right. And as far as embarrassing these guys in the year-end episode, the 2023 show, I will remind you guys that we're gonna have some fun this year, choosing the disappointment of the year. The category that we typically have Gamertag VR on to discuss with us, because there's been some disappointments here, some of them not even deserved, but people disappointed nonetheless. It isn't about how relevant the source of the disappointment is. If something was disappointing to the masses of people, then that's what that category is all about. and Hellsweeper would fit into that. Firewall is going to fit into that.
Hell
So
yeah.
many other games, Green Hell. There's a lot of things that really kind of let people down this year.
That's true.
And even a great game like Crossfire Sierra Squad, a lot of people were disappointed by it. So we'll probably have to talk about it there. So yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunity to rub these lazy developers' noses in it one more time before we move on to 2024.
What a great show it's going to be.
Yeah, it is.
So the
Vertigo 2.
greatest VR podcast of all
Sweet.
time, like it is every year.
30 hours, I think. 30, 35 hours.
35 hours. Holy crap. Well, I'll tell you what, we do 35 hours. We're going to break it up into about what, like 3 episodes? 3 or 4 episodes. And because we're going to have to keep stopping the stream. And like most of it will be pre-recorded. Because Wes needs some sleep.
All right. So the chat has spoken. ALVO, PSVR2 Game of the Month. I did not expect to be saying that.
Chat did the little switcheroo. Well, I'll tell you what, it is an amazing game. And like I said, you don't have many or any multiplayer games like this, shooters that come out so smooth with crossplay enabled across all the platforms. And I can't wait to play it on Steam.
Game.
Can't wait to play it on Steam with this. I haven't showed this yet, Wes. I got to show it at least once. My 4090.
Look at that.
That's a beast, right?
You got to like keep the box, right? Because it's when you get a 4090, you got to like just keep the box, man.
Yeah. So
Actually, I'm out of water, so why don't you guys talk about Ruuts' graphics card for 2 or 3 minutes here while I go get something to drink?
Ruuts, I think that you should send me your 4090. It would complete my new PC build. So old Darth was asking if I got my new PC build done, and I do have my new PC build, and it would, you know what, the 4090
this
you
would
have
fit
would fit
right in
perfectly.
there. Well,
it would be perfect.
I'll tell you what, I had to go get I had the right power supply, but because you have to have 4 VGA, independent VGA cables coming out, you can't daisy chain anything. You fry the card. And I couldn't find my box mash. I got my box to every fucking thing for everything I've had for like 5 years. I can't find it anywhere. So I had to go.
So you had the extra cable in there?
No, so I had to go buy another. The good thing is I use modular power supply.
Modular power.
So I just had to go buy another
another
EVGA because their modular stuff is swappable. And then I had Josh slide that puppy in there.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
So far I've as far as VR mods, I've tried Uncharted 4. I cranked that up like I don't even know. So far that it was I thought it was too far, and it ran flawless, and it still won't break 60 degrees. The cooler on this thing is the best cooler I've ever seen on any fan. This thing is like probably this thick, the video card. Half of it is the cooler.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like right now, the stream, I don't know if everybody thinks the stream looks any better or not, but I haven't had any of those hitches that usually happen every so often. And we've been running it with AV1. I don't know if you know AV1 versus NVINC or HENC. It's like not really able to be used with streaming on most cards, but this card can handle it. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. Totally psyched. Yeah, definitely one of the best investments. I think it's to me, this is the reason why one of the reasons why I chose to just keep my Quest Pro and put that $700 towards this video card. It's like a huge upgrade for everything I do. And so the VR mods, when that mod comes out, I'm going to be in Remnant 2 or It Takes Two or any of these ones that are it's going to be amazing. Excited.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. Yeah, you're gonna be ready. I mean, well, I'll be pretty ready. I mean, I'm gonna hang out with my 3080 Ti for a while. I'm gonna hang out with that, and I did get some new cooling for mine though, because I tell you what, my card did my old setup did get hot, not like shut down hot or anything like that, but hotter than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
This new case I have is amazing, man. It's got 8 fans. It's got a new cooling system in it.
13900
for the card.
Right?
Yeah, I went up to
Nice.
I got a new CPU. I got an i9 13900. I went up to DDR5, so I have now 64 gigabytes of DDR5. I got a new MSI motherboard. I'm pretty much ready to roll. I just need your 4090. Send me your 4090.
Oh yeah, I think it's on its way. I just sent it actually. You know, it was such a
dude.
pain to get that thing in there with the bracket and everything, and the cables. That I don't even, if I needed to return it, I'd probably cry because I don't want to take it out. But yeah, I've been using the AV1 codec now. That's what I'm saying, to stream this. That's a new feature mash for YouTube, and it actually lets you use less bandwidth for the same thing. But if you like, I kept everything the same and I cranked everything all the way up to the top, and it's running flawless, so it should look really sharp. And I kicked up the for any of you people that have the a monitor that handles 1440p, we just upgraded to 1440p as well.
Nice.
So that's what I'm watching my stream in right now, and it looks pretty sharp, pretty good.
What do you think?
So.
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? But yeah, I was just telling him, 2K, 1440p. So it looks pretty good. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't have it blown up on my TV, but we'll see.
Yeah. Congrats on your purchase. That's pretty epic consolation prize if you're not going to get a Quest 3. Why not use your Quest Pro to the fullest as a PCVR headset with a beefed up graphics card?
Yeah, see, but that's the thing, is it wasn't consolation. It was in spite of. Like I was telling Eric, I was able to use that $700 towards the card, which is going to, it's all I care about. Like, I don't care about the standalone games. I'm fine with the Quest Pro quality of it. You know what I mean? If there's anything that's like super fantastic mixed reality that's so much over the top better on Quest 3, I'll just use these. I'm in a unique position to do that. Not everybody is, to have another one just laying around. But even if that was the case, I still would be able to experience the mixed reality with my Quest Pro. So there's really, you know what I mean? So it's all the way around. For me, it makes so much more sense. And going into these mods, like even just Red Dead 2, like on ultra settings, and I haven't even turned them up. I can go in and I can alter the script manually, because I remember doing that when it was back in the day. But just 2700 by 2700, it looked 1,000 times better than I've ever seen it look. And my card wasn't even sweating. It was like at 50 degrees. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes me think, could I super sample? What would it look like if I had a reverb, or, you know what I mean? Like even a better display. Maybe Valve comes out. It opens up doors for me that, like, the other door was a small window door. This one is like this huge fucking behemoth door that has so many crazy possibilities that only a small, like 2% of people are going to get to check out. And I think it's cool.
Yeah, and like you said, you can always play with D's.
Right.
D's nuts.
Yeah. You know who loves to play with these nuts?
My mom!
But that does take part of that. Is
Yes,
part
she
of the
does.
consideration. It's like, I don't really have to miss out. I don't have to wonder. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be able to see. And if it's really good, then I'll go out and get one as well. But a purchase like this, like even for myself, it's very hard to pull the trigger. And then once you do, and you get 6 months down the road from it, you don't even think about the fact of any of that money. You just now have all the awesomeness of the card, you know? So
yeah, absolutely. You know who else is awesome? Oprah. And I think she wants to come out and play just a little bit more with the random.org random number generator. I'm going to ask it for another number, and that number is 5. So number 5.
I love number 5.
Johnny 5.
Johnny 5. He is my favorite.
Let's see, who was 5? Not you. Not you either. 12, the backlogged Game Cat.
Nice. Always good when it's a Game Cat.
Congratulations. Yeah, we love our Game Cats.
Well, especially with these, because these are game cards, and I feel like the Game Cats are really, with the giveaways, they get the short hand of the stick most of the time, or short end.
Yeah.
So it makes me even more happy to see them win. Not that I don't want the PC or Quest people to win too.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I decided to do it this way is specifically because of PlayStation VR and the fact that we don't, we can't get game keys to sell.
Exactly. I don't know why they don't do that either. D
to
says,
give
you
away.
think you're going to be using my Quest 3 after spilling the beans about my demolishing the leaderboards on the first 3 difficulty levels of Zombieland.
It's easy to demolish things when no one else is playing them, D.
Oh, D, it's going to change. This is what I like. I like to see this back and forth. It makes it exciting for me as a connoisseur of drama. I don't want to
Well, here's
watch
the
it on
thing.
TV.
I don't know how soon it actually will change because we had some stuff come out on Quest 2 this month, and as we're about to talk about in just a moment. But before we get to what the leaderboard of the month is, let's talk about Toss, guys, because this is a game that I had zero expectations for. This game looks pretty dumb. Um, it's I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, it doesn't look like something that I would want to play. But after you get a few levels in, when they start putting things in like moving bars and trampolines and stuff like this, I actually started having fun in this game. Roots, how much time did you give Toss?
Not as much as you probably did, but I'll tell you what, Eric was saying this, and I agree 100%. Very similar to the top, but I think it's kind of got a little bit more polish, kind of like more of a retail appeal, like with all I think it's pretty good. It's not
Yeah.
my type of game, but it's one of those games. I was telling Eric, like with you got all these phone games, right? And all these different things. You're doing different things. You're running around on subway tops and all these different things. Reminds me of that, but like in a VR type of game, but super cool. Like with all the different obstacle courses. What it reminds me of, with a lot of crazy things that can kill you, saws and all sorts of things. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah, To the Top is exactly what I thought of when I was playing this game. It starts a little bit basic, but Eric, I mean, it ramps up pretty quickly, and the complexity of these courses change. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, this is a monkey bar parkour game, pretty much, where you're just grabbing thing. I mean, it's kind of like a platformer, but not really. It's a monkey bars game, and it's all about like To the Top. It's about making it to the end of the course. It's about collecting collectibles. It's about how fast you can get the job done. And it's super polished. Wouldn't you agree, Eric?
Yeah, I mean it's well done. It's pretty cool. Like I was telling Roots, I'm like, it's not my kind of game. Like this is not a game I would probably ever go back to. But I can see where people could get in here and have a lot of fun for a long period of time because there's a lot. As you get farther in, there's a lot more to do here. For me, it's just I'd rather play To the Top. Like I don't know why. It just seems something better about that game, but it does remind me of To the Top quite a bit. I like the movement. The movement's pretty cool. I do like that kind of like the way you kind of throw yourself through the environment. And yeah, I mean it's cool. It's just to me it gets a little. I don't know. It starts to get a little boring for me. Like a little bit in. Like I know they start to throw more stuff at you. And like the environments change, but to me, I feel like I'm doing the same thing in the same environment. Um, it's just really not my game, but I think it's cool. I think it's definitely well done.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it quite on the level of To the Top. To the Top to me, is one of the best games in VR. Period. Like
Agreed.
I love To the Top. Um, I love the To the Top's more about rhythm, and you get spring to in the way that you grip and the way that you move. It kind of throws you instead of you throwing yourself. And then on top of that, you have the awesome soundtrack and the multiplayer. Like To the Top's a better game, but again, this is a game that I didn't think I was going to like at all. I thought I was going to hate this game, and at the beginning, I kind of did. Um, but as it went along and it became more complex, I really started to enjoy myself, and I played it a lot longer than I ever expected that I would. So yeah, kudos to the developer here, Agera, I guess, and Vertigo Games, the publisher. Um, because yeah, I think it's a pretty cool game, pretty fun.
Have your kids tried it yet? I know they're big into gorilla tag and stuff.
No, I mean I literally didn't know that this is something I should recommend until today. So like they're not even really aware of it, but Wouldn't it
Okay.
be cool if there was like multiplayer in this game? Like even if
That'd
it
be
was a
cool.
race, like if the track was duplicated side by side,
That
and you
would
could
be
just
cool.
race to one end, race to the other end, and then somebody gets ahead, but then they miss a jump and they have to start all over again. Like
Mhm.
that could be fun.
I think it could. Yeah, and this the game. What the price for this is only $20. That's a good deal.
Uh, Yeah, yeah, it's not bad at all. I do recommend it for $20. It's a fun game.
GT says this actually reminds me of Super Monkey Ball every time I play it. Well, that's actually a good sign, right? Very recognizable thing, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of Super Monkey Ball, but I don't think I ever played it. Did you guys ever play Super Monkey Ball?
I never did.
I may have played a version of it like a long time ago, but could be. I don't know. I am a little on the fence with the price. Like, I think this game would be really good at $14.99.
Even better at 10.
Yeah, and $20. I don't know. I am very on the edge. Like to me, $20 is like the top. Like if this was $24.99, I don't think I could recommend it. But
Yeah, I
again, this
agree.
is not my kind of game. But I like at $20, I think we're right about like Wes. I think we've I played quite a bit in this. You played a little bit in this. I think we've seen a lot of what there is to do here. Like for me at $20, I mean, like I don't know, I'm close.
Yeah, well, to me, again, I try to consider the fact that we're not talking about 2018 $20. We're talking about 2023 $20, and
That's true.
20 is kind
Good
of the
point.
new 15, and 25 is the new 20, and you know, I agree. It gets a little bit more hairy if we're talking about $25, but for something this polished and something this fun, I think $20 is not that much. Moving along, this is the game that I really want to talk about. Is this next game, because we're talking about a month where we had so many awesome releases. Hellsweeper came out this month, but the game that I've probably put the most time into across all platforms is GAZZLERS. Um, this is a pretty much a basic roguelike rail shooter that's just super well done, super polished, and super addictive. And I noticed, Eric, I don't know how accurate your Discord title was, but I think you put quite a bit of time into this game today as well.
I did, I did, and I wasn't supposed to. Like, I mean, I've already played this game a lot. We do have it on a new platform right now that I needed
Yeah.
that I wanted to go in and play it on. So that's why a lot of my time was spent in that. And this game has no right to have me spending this game. Like this game is like this is. I love this freaking game. Like this is a simple game. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like we're always looking for these deep games. We're always like, come on, virtual reality, give me something that's special, that's unique. Give me a AAA flat game. This is nowhere near a AAA flat deep game. But this game has me wrapped up like not many games do. This is like one of those games that has such a good hook. I love the leaderboard chasing. I love the progression system. I love the roguelike in it. The visuals are awesome. They're just a lot of fun, and I love it's a simple shooter. It's like not reinventing anything different here, but I have just spent a ton of time into it. And when I'm not in it, I'm like, I want to get back in it and play it. And I really didn't need to play it again today because I put so much time into it. But again, I wanted to play it on the PlayStation VR2 because it looks so freaking good. And I wanted to basically start again because there is no cross save, which I don't like as much. But man, I don't know what it is. Like this game is so good. It's got me hooked.
It's the perfect execution of the roguelike progression is what it is. They balanced it so well that it does what this game structure is designed to do, and it makes you want to try again. You put time, and once you get good at this game, like the runs take a while. Like I've only got, I think, 4 runs in on PlayStation VR2, but I've played it for hours and hours because once you get good at it, it's hard at first, but once you know how to play, it's not like it's hard to threaten on the leaderboard, but it's not hard to play for a long time. But that's what it is. It's that perfect execution of the roguelike progression. And you're right. I played this today. I put a significant amount of time. I played a couple of runs on PlayStation VR2, and it's not even up for PSVR2 Game of the Month till next month. So like, I just wanted to chase those leaderboards. Plus, it just looks so good in that OLED, panel. It's so bright. But we're talking
Did you
about
see
the
who's
Quest
number
version.
4 on your list? Well, it was 4 or 5 when I was there. It was your buddy Miles.
Yeah, Miles is 4, and Twitcher was 3. So yeah, kudos to those guys. I actually shouted them out on Discord earlier.
Got some work to do.
For being so hot. Yeah.
I still have to get back and get your score in Steam and Quest.
Yeah, I gotta pick which platform I want to stick to and keep going on. Right, I have the most progression in Steam, but I got some pretty good scores on PlayStation as well, just because I know how to play now and I know how to exploit the point system. So, Ruuts. Sometimes a game is just fun, man, and I feel like that's what we have here with GAZZLERS. It's just fun.
That's what I was telling Mash before the show when we were kind of talking about GAZZLERS a little bit. I think a lot of developers forget that at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like, we want to be in an amazing world, but like, how boring can an amazing world be in some of these places you go? The gameplay still has to be fun. It still has to have some kind of a hook that makes me want to go back in, and this one does. This is done very well. It may seem like I've called it several times in the past a simple wave shooter. It's not a simple wave shooter. A simple wave shooter sucks. This one's a very advanced, intricate wave shooter. I like it a lot. I mean, I'm not as much of it's super polished, and I'm not a big leaderboard chaser, but I found myself even wanting to chase the leaderboard. But for me, this is a no-brainer on the PC, just like most games now. If I can play a game on the Steam or PC, I want to play it on PC, unless it's something like Crossfire or something that the haptics are just so good that you can't play it anywhere else, right? So
yeah, well, so see, for me, I'm enjoying it more on PlayStation because of the triggers, because of the haptics. Like as far as like the visuals go, the game looks pretty similar on all 3 platforms. Now, there is a bit of an advantage to the OLED panel on the PlayStation, but we're not talking about the PlayStation here, Eric. We're talking about Quest 2, and it looks great on Quest 2. There's maybe a minimal amount of shimmer that you don't see on the other 2 versions of the game, but this game absolutely translates to Quest 2, and if the Quest 2 is the only platform that you have, you're not really missing anything playing this game on Quest 2.
No, and it's going to... Yeah, absolutely. And on Tuesday, it's going to look even better. Like, I've been playing it on my Quest Pro, and it looks awesome. And the Quest 2, I bet you it's not as good. So anybody who's been playing on a Quest 2, wait till you get your Quest 3 if you're getting one. Because with the pancake lenses and the clarity of the new headset, it's gonna look awesome, man. The colors are gonna look good. I mean, this is a very simple looking game. It's nothing special, but they do it really good. Like, that's what you have to do, right? Like, so if you're not going to be like Half-Life Alyx graphics, you can be cell shaded, but you need to be really, really good when you do cell shaded. And they do everything exactly the way it needs to be. It has an awesome look to it. I absolutely love it. I love the look of the different biomes and the different look of it. And it's just got a really, really good hook, man. And, even the shooting is so good. It feels good. I mean, the progression system is great. The in-game, bonuses, or the in-game perks, when you get a good roguelike to where you have perks that also have a buff on them as well, right? Those are the ones that drive you nuts, because you're sitting there like, oh my God, I want this upgrade in this this in-game upgrade. But if I take it, it's going to take, 10% of my shield away, or it's going to take, I'm going to be able to shoot 20% slower now than I was before, or half my magazine is going to be gone, and I have to reload more, to get with this other perk that you want. And those are the decisions you have to make. And if you just like, if you don't think about them and just power through, you miss a lot of the nuances of what a roguelike is and why this game is so good. Like those decisions in the round make or break how far you can get. And that's how you get yourself up the leaderboard. So I just love these type of games, man. They hook me so easily. I don't know. I love them.
Yeah, this one's well done. And you're right. It's all about building your loadout as you progress through the run as to, where you're going to end up ultimately at the end of it.
You know who, who loves to build your load and get it out?
My mom.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But I mean, everything's good here. Even the sound design, like a lot of I play this game seated. I block. I use my shield to block rather than dodge. You can play it completely different. If you stand up, you can dodge this stuff. But the audio design is so good. There are audio cues that tell you when the shots are coming and where they're coming from. So I'm getting to the point now with it where I'm literally blocking shots without looking at them. Like I know where they're coming from. I know when they're coming because of the audio cues. That's how polished this game is. And, it's a good thing that it's like that because it can get hectic when you've got 4 or 5 enemies at you at one time. Like it's a lot to keep up with. It's good that you can kind of track things without seeing them. It's pretty important to high level gameplay.
It just shows you that gameplay, simple concepts or whatever. We see this in flat games a lot where you see a game and you're like, everybody's raving about it. Like what is that vampire one or whatever? And you're like, what is this thing? That looks like a free to play. And then people get in there and the gameplay is so addictive because it's so deep and so well done that, we need more of these in VR personally,
Yeah, agreed. An excellent game. We played the demo a long time ago. I was always wondering what was taking it so long to come out. And now we see it's super polished. They put the work in and they have an excellent game here.
Wait till people see it on the PlayStation VR2 or if they have got it yet or whatever, but it'll so
burn
good
your eyes
man.
out. It'll literally burn your fucking eyes out. It's so bright. Like even with the brightness turned down, it's like ungodly, like colorful and bright.
Like I knew it was gonna be like because it's PlayStation, right? Like I knew it was gonna be bright. I knew the colors were gonna pop, and it even shocked me when I put the headset on. I'm like, holy crap! It's even more than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. It is one of those wow moments when you put it on. You're like, whoa, this thing is so bright. But moving along, Hellsweeper, which we already talked about, came out on Quest 2 this month as well. I'm not going to obviously rehash that entire conversation, but I will say a couple things about it here. First of all, Ruuts gameplay 1-to-1 on Quest. It's the same game in terms of how it plays here as it is on either of the other platforms.
Wow, and definitely. I mean, it's an amazing game. The movement, everything, like you said, still stands. So I mean, that puts this game, since it didn't release in such a weird way, in a pretty good spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say so, Eric, because the one thing I was kind of bracing myself for as I went in to check out the Quest version, I was expecting it to look pretty bad, but it doesn't. It doesn't look bad at all. Now, obviously, it's not on the level of high-end VR like PlayStation or PC, but to be honest, it looked better than I expected it to on Quest.
Yeah, same here. I was a little shocked when I went in. We've been playing this game for a long time on Steam, so we have seen the best of it for a while. So when you go in and you see not PC version anymore, you get it in your head that nothing is going to look as good as the PC, or it's going to look bad everywhere else. And that wasn't the case. Like, I mean, the PC version is definitely the prettiest version. So if you're going to play it for just graphics and looks alone, I think, the PC version is beautiful. But this looks great on the Quest 2. And there is something to be said for playing it with no wires. Like, yeah. I mean, on both other platforms, I mean, I guess you could play wirelessly with your Quest. But I mean, if you're going to play it on PlayStation, you're going to be wired. Now, again, I could play this seated. I didn't, but I can. I have in the past. So I mean, you can play it seated. You don't have to. You could just kind of turn in your chair for a lot of that stuff. But I mean, there is something to be said for not having a wire and not having to worry about it, and that freedom that it does give you. And this game, it looks beautiful on this headset, man, and it plays really well. And it does. When Wes says 1-to-1, it feels exactly like the other versions. I mean, when you're playing it.
What about Quest 3? How good is it going to look in the Quest 3? You know,
I think it'll look very similar to the PlayStation version. Honestly,
Exactly.
but, yeah.
well, except for it'll be sharp, right? Completely sharp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the PlayStation one, I mean, doesn't really look bad anymore, like it did when it launched. But yeah, you're right. There'll be a little clarity boost that come with those lenses that, for now just can't get around. So you're right.
Yeah.
There'll be a little clarity bump for it for sure. But no, I think that Hellsweeper is one of the best releases that we've seen this year, and I think that Hellsweeper on Quest is one of the best Quest releases that we've seen this year. I think it's absolutely great.
Agreed.
But moving along, we had another new release. This one a Quest exclusive, at least for the time being. Outta Hand launched on Oculus Quest just a couple weeks ago. This is a platformer in the style of Gorilla Tag or No More Rainbows. It's one of these games that puts you using your hands to run. You have no legs. How apropos, Eric, that a Quest exclusive gives you a game with no legs.
You actually do have legs. They're just really tiny. Yeah, you have legs that are like this big. So like which is funny because if you put your arms up in the air to where you're not, standing on your arms anymore, you can actually walk around with your thumbstick on your tiny ass little legs. It's hysterical.
I would say hysterical is a good word for it, Ruuts. This game is a bit zany, right? Like it has kind of a feel to it, like a Trover or one of those type of games. It doesn't have that kind of humor to it, but I'm talking about the world, the characters, the way it looks, the vibe you get from it reminds you of something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what got me was the movement was actually once you've moved enough and you're it's like anything else, like we were saying about Hellsweeper. You actually start to get good at it. You start to get good at being able to like fling yourself in certain directions. There's so many things going on. You're literally parkouring and jump just like in that thing. You're bouncing off of stuff, punching things. Like I actually found myself enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to because I love platformers. I'm not a big fan of the movement style, but it's growing on me as I get better at it. And you can actually learn how to run fast as well, because you can either, it depends on it. Well, I guess it's like Gorilla Tag, depending on how hard you hit it, how high you jump, whatever. I think it's very unique. Now I want to ask you guys, did you find yourself like in between areas? You're running down that hallway and you got that little mirror, and like first time you try to go down that thing and then you realize, oh shit, that's a mirror. Then I would find myself like jumping back and forth, like watching, waving at it as I was going by, and I was doing that for a while, and then I was like, what am I doing? Like, but it was pretty cool. So,
yeah, that was that little corridor you're talking about there is one of the big telltale signs that you're playing a Quest game, right? Like they have to put these little tricks in there to give them it's a disguised loading screen is what it is. Basically, it's a loading screen with no bar. Instead, they give you a mirror.
Yeah, and you can play in front of it. It was cool. I liked it. I'd rather have that in a loading screen all day.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, with regard to this type of locomotion style, this is definitely the best implementation of it that I've seen so far. Still not my favorite type of game. These games that put you running on your hands. But this one does some things that the other ones don't that kind of set it apart. This game has more of an aerial nature to it. So instead of just running around everywhere, you have some bounce. And once you start getting in the air, that's when this game starts to get fun. Eric, it took me a little while to kind of warm up to this game. I didn't really enjoy it a whole lot at first. It takes it a while to get going. But as you progress through the game and you progress through the levels, they start to introduce new mechanics to the movement, which, like I said a moment ago, it makes it so that you're running with your hands less and you're more flying through the air. Stuff like, bouncy platforms, there's zip lines, these sorts of things. I mean, you can wave your arms and fly. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do to keep yourself in the air. And that's what I think the strength of the game is that aerial gameplay. That's what makes it so fun for me.
Yeah, because it's a platformer, you have to have different, types of movement here, and different ways you can get through the level, and different ways that you can, because it has to be, you have to, like any platform, you have to be exact with your movements to help you get through the through the environment, through the platform. So that's a big part of this, is like different types of movements, like the flapping of your arms thing. You can actually flap your arms like a bird in mid jump, and it will give you a momentary like hover where you can kind of, or where you can kind of like fly a little ways, to help you get from platform to platform. And a lot of the jumping is making sure that you land on the next platform in a right position to get to where you can propel yourself forward again, whether it's a short jump or a power jump, or whether you need to be punching also, because this is kind of like a has a little bit of melee here, punching the enemies. So there's a lot to this game that I really like, because I am not a big fan of this movement style either. Like, I'm not a gorilla tag fan. I don't really like it. It did take a little while to grow on me. I think what saves this for me is that it's a platformer, is that it's not just me moving through an environment to do something else. It's me having to challenge myself in the way I move, in different types of jumps and different locations and different areas. And, later it gets crazy with like all kinds of like things that can kill you, with like lasers and like, like missiles that are shooting at platforms. And then you have like spiked platforms, and all the things that you would think of that you would see in a platform that that make it challenging. And I really like this game. I think visually it looks really good, and I think they kind of nailed the movement that like No More Rainbows didn't. Like No More Rainbows, I thought could have been a good game, but I didn't care for that movement at all. I thought it was way too slow, and this is the opposite of that. Like, this is the movement you would have hoped for that. So I think this is a really good game.
Well, my problem with No More Rainbows was the execution of it. Like, my hands kept catching the ground and pushing me backwards when I'm trying to move forwards. And it was just frustrating. And that happened a few times here, but I mean, I could count them on one hand, versus constantly in No More Rainbows. Again, this game is more aerial in nature. It keeps you away from the ground, so you don't have to worry about that sort of thing.
It sounds like things were getting out of hand, Wes. What I thought was kind of cool jumping on those platforming and stuff is it really is all about your hands. And you go bouncing off of a platform trying to, like, jumping between spot to spot, and you're like, oh shit, I overshot it. If you can reach your hand out and just get your hand on it, you can smack yourself up. Like, you can like just kind of wave your hand and kind of push the air and nudge yourself. Like you said, there's really almost no limitations to the movement. They keep adding more and more to it, and the game gets better and better. And now I see why Skiva was raving about it, because it's definitely really good. So.
It's an active game too, man. Not only are you running and jumping with your hands, but you're fighting with your fists too. Like there's a lot going on here. Like, my arms are sore.
Me too. I was gonna say my arms and shoulders are spent.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a fun game. Definitely a good sleeper title for the month. I don't think anybody expected it to be quite as good as it is, and it's one of the best releases that came out on Quest this month. So, kudos to the developer, and thank you, by the way, for the review key. And yeah, man, definitely a solid title, Outta Hand.
Agreed.
And that brings us to our last Quest nominee for this month. A game that, to be quite honest, I wasn't really looking forward to all that much. And when people describe System Critical 2 to me, I get excited about it, because I was a Mega Man fan, and everyone will tell you that this is a Mega Man clone in first person VR. Uh, but when you look at the footage of the game, it looks pretty bland, right? The environments don't look all that great. The gameplay looks repetitive. It doesn't look all that great. Um, but Eric, once you get in the game and you start playing it a little bit, that's when you find out that hey, this really is Mega Man in VR. Like all the stuff you liked about Mega Man going on here. And no, it's not the most beautiful thing to look at aesthetically, but it is. It does have a retro flavor to it. So it puts you in that old mindset of these retro games, and it is fucking hard. This is a difficult game to play, um, and that's probably my favorite thing about it is there's a lot of diversity in how you can take on these levels. It's very difficult to play. And like the original Mega Man, it puts all the levels out in front of you to start the game. You pick which ones you want to go to in what order, and you have to find the order to be able to make it through it. You have to beat this level to get that weapon to go to this level so you can get that weapon and go to this level. So, I mean, it really is a pretty faithful recreation of the Mega Man gameplay loop.
Yeah, I like it, man. This is a good game. Did you guys play the first one, the first System Critical?
No, today was my first ever experience in any of these games.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is just a really good sequel to that one. Like, you can tell the developer like cut his chops on the first one. The first one was very similar. Very Mega Man style, same kind of, run and gun and shoot. But you could just tell that he kind of like, because this is an indie dev, and you could just tell that he like honed what he wanted to do in that one, and then this is like the culmination of it, because this is a really really well done game that he has put a lot of time and effort into it, and you can tell. And I think it's great. Like I love the look of this. I love the way it shoots. I love the music. There's a lot of cool things going on here that give you kind of like that retro vibe, like you're talking about. I feel just like, I mean, this feels like Mega Man. Like there's a lot of cool things here. It has some melee, which I think is pretty cool too. Like, so you get like a couple of different melee weapons that you can use along with with your different guns that you have. So I think it's really well done. This is like a sleeper. Like if you haven't heard of this game, this is a game, and you like shooters, or you're like retro, like a Mega Man style game. I think this is something you should definitely take a look at.
So Gamertag VR in the chat says he's been stalking me for years now to play it. I played the first one and gave him some feedback. Every time I watch someone play it, it looks boring. But since you guys are chatting about it, I'll try it. Yeah, so I'll say this. It does look boring. It looks boring to watch this game on YouTube. It just does. Um, but I think if you go into it with proper expectations, one being what I already said, that this is a Mega Man clone. It's structured after Mega Man. It's that same kind of blaster mechanic where you have to figure out the order of the levels to get to the end of the game. It's very difficult. As long as you know that going in, and you do keep in mind that this is an indie game, and it's very obviously an indie game when you're in it. This is not a AAA game experience. Um, as long as you know that going in, I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. Roots, what's your experience been with System Critical?
My experience is the same as Mega Man. I never tried Mega Man, and this is one of the few titles I didn't get a chance to get into. But now I want to get in there and check it out because it already looked pretty cool. I mean, I kind of felt like the same thing that the gameplay looked a little bland, but this is the thing. Like the footage I saw was literally like the first 3 minutes, and so like I would imagine that it builds up. And from what I'm just seeing here, it looks pretty active, and I like the fact that what you said is in a game like this, especially a retro type of game, I want it to be hard. You know who else wants it to be hard?
My mom.
Yeah, she gets really pissed if it doesn't.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
it's a platform
does.
shooter. It's a
Yes.
platform shooter. It's a cover shooter with platforming, is what it is.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of variety in the weaponry and stuff. And again, high challenge, right? It is not very easy. These enemies are accurate, and they have blasters too, and they're fast. So yeah, it's good. Better than I thought it was going to be, and definitely deserving of its nomination here this month as one of the best that came out on Quest.
People say Awesome Tatum says I got to go play Mega Man 2 right now. Why don't we not have a Mega Man? I guess this is the Mega Man of VR. I don't know if I've ever played a game that I felt like I had to have weapons in a certain order. So it sounds intriguing.
Yeah, so a normal game will start you in level 1, and you go to level 2 and level 3 and level 4, and then you go to the boss level and you finish it. The way Mega Man games work is that right at the menu screen, they give you all the levels, and you can go to whichever one you want. But the thing is every time you beat a boss, you get to pick up their weapon, and you have to have certain weapons to beat certain bosses and certain type of tools to make it through the levels. So like literally you'll go into one level and you make to the boss, and the boss will seem invincible, like you can't hurt it. But then you'll go try another level, you'll beat that boss, take his gun, and now go back to the invincible one. Now you can beat him. So it's one of those type of things. You have to kind of trial and error your way through the levels to figure out what the correct order is. The level 1 through 9 is still there, but you don't know which level is level 1. You have to figure that out.
So you go on and get your ass kicked on level 9 right off the bat. And you're like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I'm in the wrong one. Yeah, that sounds really cool. So definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's Quest for the month of September. So again, we have some solid, unique games. I mean, kind of crazy the variety that we had this month. So we had Toss. Well, let me put the poll together here. So we had Toss, which again a kind of a parkour monkey bars game. Which again, very unique aesthetic, kind of dumb looking, but fun to play. And then from there we had GAZZLERS, which again is as great as some of these other games are. I've put more time into GAZZLERS than any other game this month. Like, it's just fun. It's a roguelike rail shooter. But it nails the progression. It's super polished, and it's addictive. And I'll probably go play some more of it before I go to bed tonight. Then we had Hellsweeper. And what more can we say about Hellsweeper that we haven't said already? Like, this is a legitimate Game of the Year contender, in my opinion. And the gameplay translates 1-to-1 into Quest. So... first of all, and then there's System Critical 2, which is a great indie Mega Man clone. So first of all, my first question for you gentlemen, my polls will only let me put 4 games in. So who gets voted off the island here out of those 5?
I know Eric right off the bat. He's throwing Toss right out the fucking window.
Toss and toss.
Toss and toss.
Toss.
Toss and toss. Bye-bye. Thank you for playing. Step down.
All right.
Although it is good.
Yeah, it is.
It's cute.
So let's toss and see what the chat seems to think about it. Kind of difficult here, man.
It is.
For me, it's down to the 2 games that I actually played a lot of, and that's GAZZLERS and Hellsweeper. What are you thinking here with this, Ruuts?
I'm thinking Outta Hand could be, if I had gone further into the game, could probably be further into the conversation, because it seemed like the further I got, the better it got. Like, and it just got better and better and better. But I would agree with you 100%. And both for different reasons. You know, GAZZLERS, I think, is probably the most complete game, addictive gameplay loop, very well thought out. And Hellsweeper is... the movement style is so unique and feels so good, and I mean everything else about it as well. So, I mean, that it would be between those 2 for me as well.
Yeah, agreed. Eric, what do you think?
This shouldn't even be a discussion, but I don't know how it is. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It is, but I don't know how it is. Like, I literally am thinking about voting GAZZLERS over Hellsweeper. Like, how is this even possible? Like, like Hellsweeper is a freaking great game. I think could win, could have a a legitimate chance to win Game of the Year. And right now, I'm trying to talk myself out of going. You know what? I just like GAZZLERS better. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I like GAZZLERS a lot. I would be pretty hard pressed to say I like it better. I think that something similar is going to happen here to what happened with me in Zombieland D, where I'm going to have fun with it for a couple months and then move on with my life. But I'm having fun with it right now. But yeah, at the end of the day, again, GAZZLERS is a palate cleanser style game. Hellsweeper is a main course, and a game of the year contender in my opinion. So it's Hellsweeper in my opinion, but GAZZLERS certainly deserves its nomination this month. It's really, really good.
So tough, man. What did Ruuts vote?
I didn't vote yet. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, like big part of me wants to vote for the game that I feel compelled to play more. But I haven't given Hellsweeper. Well, I guess I haven't given this Hellsweeper the chance. The next Hellsweeper is the one that I focus on, with the fidelity. But yeah, I don't know. It's a toss. What did Eric vote?
I haven't voted yet. Literally, I'm telling you, GAZZLERS has no right to even be in this conversation.
No.
I don't understand why I'm doing it, but I really am like, I like this game that much. Like, there's not many, and it doesn't have to be a deep. Yeah, this is Yuki. This has that hook. Like, to me, it doesn't have to be a deep game. It doesn't have to be, because like, I get daunted by some deep games. Like, I won't go into No Man's Sky because I don't feel like I can do anything in No Man's Sky. I like games I can just jump into and just get out of. Like, I'm more apt to go into a game where I don't feel like I have to remember 20 million things or do a whole bunch of stuff or spend hours and hours to get satisfied.
What the bat?
Man, I just don't know. Like, I know I should not even be deciding like that. Like, to me, like, Hellsweeper is that good though that like it does have a legitimate chance to be Game of the Year, and that's probably why I'll probably end up going Hellsweeper here. But I really want people to play GAZZLERS. Like, I would just like to say, please go and give it a try. I am going to vote Hellsweeper for Game of the Month here, but I am that close to voting for GAZZLERS, so you guys should go check GAZZLERS out. That's all I'll say. I mean, like, it's that freaking good. And I can tell you this, like, I can play both of these games right now. I'm thinking about going and playing GAZZLERS more right now. Like, I want to go back. Like, I had to get out of the GAZZLERS to come and do the show tonight because that's what I was in right before we started the show.
And you were playing the version that we don't even need to play right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that has a lot to say about it. I have no problem voting Hellsweeper to win, although it looks like the chat is 50-50 down the middle.
This is insane, dude. This is insane. I don't even know how, but it is. It's that good. It's just this. This is good for developers to look at. You don't have to make, the most beautiful, story-driven, huge-scale game to make a good game. You can just, if you have a good gameplay loop and a good hook, people will want to play your game because it's a good game and it's fun. But you got to figure it out. You got to figure a hook. It has to have a hook.
Yeah, because that's the thing. None of us, before VR, were just playing games that sucked. We played games that were fun and had a really cool hook to them, right? VR is no different. It just makes things even more needing that hook. I was gonna say I'm okay with voting Hellsweeper as the winner as long as GAZZLERS comes along as a runner-up. We know it's not gonna win, but it deserves to be there, man. So.
Fair enough. We'll make it a runner-up just as a token thing.
Yeah. Which is awesome for a game like that, dude. Fuck, man, you almost won Game of the Month. The hell is happening here?
Yeah. I don't think it's in that conversation for Game of the Year like Hellsweeper is, but it is that fun, and it is really good. So sure, we'll call Hellsweeper the winner. We'll call GAZZLERS the runner-up, and we'll be talking about GAZZLERS again next month. for PlayStation VR2 as well. So
That's true.
um,
It may
but
be the
again,
best version. I don't know. I didn't go
it'll
into
be.
it because it wasn't on the list.
It is the best version, but it'll be going up against Vertigo 2.
Oh shit!
I
It
know.
ain't no chance in hell. My prediction is Vertigo 2 is going to come out and be so amazing on day one. I can't even imagine it having any issues, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, even if it does, the issues will be fixed by day 2, right?
Yeah. Now I'm my conundrum, Wes, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Even with Wanderer, which has this new content coming and everything, I got a fucking 4090 here, and I'm and people discount this. The Quest Pro does have QLED. Everybody says, but the OLED. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna. It may not be the color experience, but it's close. The blacks and whites, all that stuff. So. Now I'm thinking I want to play through it on PC, So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great game. It was Game of the Year last year, so like certainly worth your time.
Heck yeah.
Anyway, what do you guys say? Well, why don't we give away another game? We got 2 more to give away. Not games, but gift card.
Yeah,
Give out
hell
another
yeah.
gift card real quick, and then get our PC discussion underway. So you guys know the drill. Random.org is going to give us another number. There will be a name next to that number, and that name will win $25 to the VR platform of their choice. And the number is
14.
Oh, nice. Yes.
You got part of it right. It's
Really?
54.
I got the 4 right.
54.
14
Yeah,
plus 40.
Right. So who was 54? That is the question. I have to scroll down and
It's
find out.
techno glitch. I bet. I feel it.
Might be.
Yeah, I said 14 because somebody was earlier when that was 9. They said, 5 more. So I wanted to give them hope and then snatch it out.
Steal it right back.
Steal it right. Yeah.
Ryan Brannon.
Oh my God, I know that
Ryan
guy.
Brannon.
Oh, I know that guy too. He owes me money.
The winner.
He owes me.
Does he owe you
Son, I'm taking the game.
$25?
Right.
All right, congratulations, Ryan. I think he's in bed, but he'll be happy to find out tomorrow when he watches this back that he won $25 on the platform of his choice as we celebrate a milestone 200.
I
for
bet
Virtual Strangers.
I bet he picks Quest 3 because he's going to have that new Quest 3 coming in 2 days.
That's true. Yeah, I would do that if I were
That's
him.
what I would do. Yeah.
All right. Congratulations, Brandon. We do still have one more card to give away at the end of the show, so hang in there. Sorry. Too much water.
He doesn't need it. Tech says respin. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right, so really quickly, let's talk about what came out on PCVR this month. As many great games as came out on PSVR 2 and Quest 2 this month, all that diversity, all those great games. I think that the winner among platforms this month, oddly enough, was PCVR. PCVR had a wide variety of good games that came out. The only platform that gets 6 nominees this month, while the other 2 had 5. We're going to really quickly move through some of these because we've already talked about most of them. First of all, TOS.
Wait, did you want to talk about the event at Unity Farm that you want to talk about?
Oh, that's true. That's not in my notes, but I'm glad you said that. The events at Unity Farms came out this month on PCVR in early access, and you guys might have remember we covered a Steam Next Fest demo of this game something like a year ago, and we were pretty impressed with it for what it was. I mean, it was like an hour plus of gameplay just in that demo, and it seemed like the game was just getting started at that point. So this game is out now. It is still kind of a work in progress. It is an early access game, after all. But Eric, it deserves an honorable mention, right? Like, obviously, we don't allow early access games to be voted on for game of the month. But I feel like if it didn't have that label on it, it would probably be a nominee this month, right?
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, this is a cool game. I mean, this is like you know, I don't know if I would call it quite horror, but it has that like element of
Spooky.
like Stranger Things, like
There's some
yeah,
scary stuff
spooky.
in there.
Yeah, no,
There's
there
some scary
is.
stuff. There's some big like evil ass spiders in this, and there's
Yeah.
like zombie creatures. So as you can see here, it's like a spell casting game, but it isn't just an action game. It's a story driven game that has some action. It has some puzzling in it as well. Um, there's actually a there's a lot to the gameplay loop in this game, and it looks really good inside the headset too.
Yeah, it does.
My only problem with it, and I don't know if there's any way to do it. I'm not a big fan of the book being open and having to
Yeah.
grab like that whole thing. It just seems very awkward. And I was thinking, man, this is really cool. I just wish there was a better way that they could implement these things. I don't know, but it just seems
That's
very
fair. That's fair. And you know,
Mm.
that was kind of the one source of criticism that we gave them when we played the game forever ago, and
they
it
didn't
seems
change it.
like they didn't change it. It's still there. So
And it was still
not,
awkward, but it was still cool, you know?
yeah, not a game breaking thing for sure, but
No.
definitely it's annoying to have something in your field of view for you know for that amount of time.
Or fix
Um,
it to where it's a little bit better. And this is just since they're in early access, it's a little bit more
Right.
connected to your body. Because I had times when we went into it last week or whatever, we didn't end up talking about it, but where I would turn or do something and it wouldn't really go with me properly. And that's where it became frustrating. Like if it's gonna be there, it needs to be there and like always be there, and no matter what I do, and not have any weird moments where I because there's a lot of shit trying to attack you. So
yeah, lots of stuff. But it's a cool game out now in early access on Steam. I think everyone should pick it up and check it out. How much does this game cost, Eric? Do you remember?
You know what? I
that's a
don't
good question.
actually don't know either. That's a good
Give
question.
me just a minute and I'll tell you. I'll look it up. This is something. This probably would have been the wish list title today if
Yeah.
we had done a regular episode.
Yeah, this game is good. I think you know it is early access, and I think once they get everything kind of like figured completely out, it is going to be featured in Steam's Scream Fest coming up later in October, and I think once they get a couple of things kind of ironed out, but I think it's good enough to get in there and play right now. Like I think it's definitely something if you don't mind early access, go in and check it out because I think it's pretty cool. It definitely has a Stranger Things vibe to it, and like Wes said, the story is definitely got some kind of out there, spooky,
It's
edge
done
to
well too. It's like it makes you want to know what's going on. The dialogue with the little girl, like just everything about it, I thought was pretty cool.
So it's $20, $19.99 on Steam right now, and the demo is live too. So if you want to demo it and try it out before you buy, like I said, it was pretty. If it's the same demo that we played, it's pretty substantial, right? There's like an hour or so of gameplay,
Yeah,
that you can try it out and try before you buy.
absolutely.
So yeah, everyone check it out. The events at Unity Farm in early access. This is a game that I'm sure we'll come back to once it leaves early access and see how it stacks up against the releases of that month. But yeah, thank you, Roots. I didn't put that in my notes, so I would have never remembered that. Anyway, so Toss released on PCVR as well as the other two major platforms this month. We already talked about it. Thought it was going to be garbage. Turned out to be a little more than that, and actually enjoyed it. So, kudos to Vertigo Games there. GAZZLERS. I talked about how much I played GAZZLERS. The majority of my gameplay time in GAZZLERS was on Steam. Like I died a lot playing this game on Steam. I was able to make it pretty far on PlayStation now that I know how to play it. But Eric, picking this game up cold, like it's very, very difficult at first, right?
It is, yeah. This is, it's a roguelike, so you're going to have to like kind of build yourself up. I mean, you will get better at it really quick. I will say that. So like it's like one of those things where it takes you a little bit. You're gonna die. You need to do a couple of things, and then you'll start to get the feel of it quickly. And then you'll kind of get through it. You'll figure out what in-game perks you like or what works for you. And I think it'll help you quite a bit, move you along.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Roots, we had Hellsweeper, which came out on Steam. You talk about that whole dichotomy of PSVR versus versus PC with some of these games. You know, PSVR is better with some other games. PC's better. While you do get those haptics and stuff on PlayStation, I will say that as good as the game looks on PlayStation, it looked noticeably better in my Reverb G2,
I bet.
and fully playable on G2 out of the box, and it runs smooth at that high. Even at that high resolution, it runs smooth on my 3080. So yeah, I don't know which one of these platforms I'm going to take to and really grind on. But I will say that uh, the the PC version of this game definitely seems like the most polished version of it.
Well, especially when you're gonna play it with the Quest 3 with those new pancake lenses. And if this is a great streaming game. This is like, you know what I mean? It'd be a great game to stream and progress through. And having your chat with them is always I wish Sony would. Well, I guess you said they did fix that, or was it Quest or somebody? I don't know. Getting the chat in there is always key, or easy chat is key. But yeah, this is definitely the best version to me as far as, I mean, the fidelity, even just the beginning portal when you walk. I was like, fuck, man, that looks so
Yeah.
good, right? Because here's the reality, and maybe for some people it's different. Like most people, actually, I'd say 99% of people walk through life with crystal clear image, with glasses, or just they've got good images. Like we're not all walking around looking through a fog or a haze or a softness. That's where it messes with me. When a game is soft enough to remind me I'm in VR, it's an immersion breaker. And I just want the clarity to be as clear as it can be. And that's why I lean more towards PCVR. And that's why I get so irritated with any PlayStation VR2 games that aren't crystal clear, because there's no reason for it. I've seen it. It can be done. And now with without the foveated rendering. With the foveated rendering, there's no excuse, except outside of you just didn't want to use it. And maybe they will still add it, and it will be crystal clear, and then I could be talking about it, to me, being the better version, you know.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on, we had a former Quest exclusive make its way to Steam this month with "I Expect You to Die 3: Cog in the Machine." And anyone who's played "I Expect You to Die" before knows what this game is already. You know how it's going to go already, and that is a very good, very polished, story-driven puzzle game. Eric, I enjoy "I Expect You to Die 3. No surprises here, right? Like, I enjoyed the first one. I thought the second one was a little better than the first one. I think the third one's a little bit better than the second one. Like, it's a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they are not like changing anything. Like big. I mean, it gets better like incrementally, but it's not like it's the same kind of deal. I mean, but I think they add just enough to keep you looking forward to wanting more. Right? Like they're not reinventing the wheel. Like this is not like I'm giving you an example like Fisherman's Tale. Fisherman's Tale, the original to the second one, was like a huge like break. Like I mean, the completely different puzzles. The way the whole game played was different. This is not that. Like this is still gonna basically an escape the room type of thing. You have to like use your telekinesis power to grab things and do what you need to do to get out of different circumstances. But they do it really, really, really well, and you want to keep going back and doing it over and over again. And I think they changed just enough to keep you really, interested in what you're doing. But they just do it really well. They have a good, build of a game, and they just keep doing it really good.
Polish Ruuts. That's what I think about when I think about I Expect You to Die. Like it's not super it's not super jaw dropping in terms of production quality. Like in terms of in terms of like graphics, like it's a pretty simplistic cartoony game, but it looks good. The art style works for what it is here, and the overall game experience, whether you're talking about sound or the puzzles or the storytelling or the music or the voice acting, it's all top notch. It's all super polished, and that's what we've come to expect from Shell Games.
Absolutely. And they nailed the theme. Like even just with the narrator, the way he talks, or I guess it's a girl, right? The way she talks, just everything. It makes you feel like you're this like 007 agent, right? And you're in this predicament. And I think it's really cool. And their puzzles are just, they make you think outside the box, which is cool.
Yeah.
Environmental.
No surprises here. It's hard to come up with things to talk about with this game because everyone's familiar with these games by now, and if you played one, you know what this is. It's top notch. Anytime that one of these games come out, it's instantly going to be a contender for Game of the Month because it's so good. Actually, I think that this game didn't this game win Quest Game of the Month last month?
It might have, yeah. It might have.
It might have actually won last month. Let me go back and take a look. But I think this actually might have won the Game of the Month on Quest last month when it released. Let's see here. Let's go to this folder and let's go to that folder and Game of the Month. Find out which episode we did Game of the Month on. We did it on we did it on Friday last month, right?
No, we did it on Sunday. That was the big one we did when I was in the echo chamber.
That's the one that has like 50,000 views, right?
Yeah,
yeah. On the notes from it.
But yeah, gamer tag. I just want to throw it since I see your name right there, and I know you're right there. Red Dead Redemption 2. Got to play it. You need to get in there, GT. Play this game. You too, Mash.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it for sure.
So I can't find it straight off the top here. I don't want to hold the production up. I think this game might have actually won the Quest Game of the Month.
I'm pretty sure. I think it did. I can't remember what it went up against, but I thought it did.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a testament to how good it is. It's a very good game. I've enjoyed my time in it so far. Haven't finished it yet, but really enjoying it, and it's really, really good. Moving on from one previous Quest exclusive to another, Yupitergrad 2, The Lost Station, came to Steam this past month. And Ruuts, just like I Expect You to Die before it, another really, really great game coming from Quest to Steam. I mean, this was one of the better games we played this year.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would say that this one probably, I didn't get a chance to check this one on PC, but I would imagine it looks just as good as it did on the Quest, right? Because it looked amazing on the Quest as well. So
yeah, it's pretty similar. Like it's almost exact to be quite honest. But there might have been some tweaks to the lighting and such, but Eric, this game never has been about what it looks like, right? This game is about how it plays, and basically it's about some of the best grappling that you're going to find in VR.
It is. This isn't like a game like that Outta Hand game where it's not. It's got so many great things in it. If it was just the grappling on its own, I don't know if it would stand up. If it was just the platforming on its own, I don't know if it would stand up. But together, they make an amazing game, and now they've added a couple different cool elements to it that make it even more engaging because you can do more now. So I absolutely love this game, and I love the looks of this game. The way it looks is it doesn't have to be like, to me, this is again another art style. You pick your art style that you want and do it amazingly to where it still blows me away when I look at it.
Yeah, and this isn't just a straight sequel to Yupitergrad. Like you mentioned, they add gameplay elements into it, and they pretty much change up the base structure of the game. Yupitergrad, the original, was a linear platforming game. This is not linear, and while the swinging and platforming is still here, like there's combat, the story's much more involved, and it's a Metroidvania in a just absolutely enormous map. Like you have to backtrack a lot in this game to different areas of the map as you unlock things, and as you gain new items, you unlock parts of the map. You find yourself backtracking a lot, but it's so challenging that's like half of the fun is the getting from point A to point B. Like what was originally the main gameplay mechanic is just the is an afterthought here. It's the traveling between what happens in the gameplay here. It's much more nuanced game. It's a true sequel in every sense of the word, and it's very, very good. And I'm glad that it's finally coming to Steam. Like they kind of blew it here, Eric, by launching this thing on Pico first, and then kind of trickling into the other platforms. PlayStation VR is still waiting on this game. But I'm glad at least now Steam players have a chance to play it.
I bet Pico made it worth their while. If they've made it, you know what I mean? That's such a weird thing to give it to such a small platform of people, right? So
that's what happens with Pico. Is Pico, who they are, because of who they are, they pay for porting, and the other ones don't. So a lot of times it's easier for the developers to decide to run it to one system over the other just based on that, right?
Yeah.
That's where it's guaranteed.
I think it's good.
Yeah, it's just guaranteed money in your pocket right away. You know what I mean? Where the other ones you might do better, but you have to wait to get the sales. So
definitely. I understand the move on the part of the studio. I just think it's unfortunate that I think they sold what they ended up selling was their hype. Like they sold their hype, that kind of new release hype went to the highest bidder, and now we have this great game here that not too many people are talking about because again they kind of burn all their hype up on a overseas launch.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens is, and what happens too is they, this is not a huge studio. And then, what happens is they kind of like do whatever they can do to help that launch, that Pico launch, for advertising and like you said, hype building and push. And then all of a sudden it launches here and they either don't have the bandwidth or they don't have the budget to do another big push. And then now nobody knows it's out here. So, which is unfortunate because this is where the majority of the players are, you know what I mean? So, and a lot of them just don't know about this game enough to go play it, unfortunately.
I want these things on PlayStation, man. Can you imagine how much more immersive it's going to be? Not just the colors, but the triggers and haptics with these things that you have on your hands. Like it's going to add a whole new element to the immersion. Like
maybe
you're going to be able to. Yeah, right. If they do it right.
If they do it, please do it.
I would have some faith in Game Dust. I think they're a good studio.
True.
Yeah. You're going to feel that tension, right? You're going to feel the tension in your grappling through these controllers, which is going to be so cool.
That would be cool if you could actually put the trigger pull on the reeling in of the, like if you did the full trigger press, if it actually reeled them in instead of using some of the other controls.
Yeah. So and of course to round out the PCVR offerings, like we talked about earlier, System Critical 2, a game that plays just like the Quest version, but it does, Eric, look better on PC, right? It looks notably better.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell it was made for PC, and then he moved it to the Quest because it definitely looks like this was the original build. It looks that much better, I think. But I mean, that's to be expected. We'll see, and maybe it'll get an upgrade for the Quest 3. Hopefully, if he wants to take a look and do that, because I think that would be interesting to see what the comparison would be at that point. But yeah, I mean, this is if you can play it on PC. I mean, I probably would try and play it on PC if you can.
Yeah, it still has that retro look to it, but like the skyboxes have more resolution to them. The lighting's better. It's your standard PCVR graphics upgrade, the stuff that you would expect to look better. It does look better. And that is PCVR for the month of September. Again, a lot of the big pluses from the other platforms, but they also are giving us I Expect You to Die 3 and Yupitergrad 2 on top of all that. So I definitely think this month goes to PCVR without a question.
And somebody in the chat it's corrected us. I think it was Looper said that the game of the month for Quest was Swordsman of August.
Swordsman. Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, did we decide to do that?
I think that
doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, that's what
I
said.
I remember we talked about it, but I don't know what we ended up voting on. I remember we talked about it as a possibility because of it had just come to the Quest, right, or to the out of App Lab to Quest. But I don't remember what we actually decided.
All right. Well, that is we do have a bit of a process here, so maybe I voted for I Expect You to Die 3 and then I got outvoted or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months from now, you'd be like, I don't remember why we would vote for what was it we just voted for. Very bizarre choice of the PlayStation
GAZZLERS. Why is GAZZLERS on the Game of the Year competition?
Yeah.
I'm never gonna say that. I love that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, you know, I mean, I guess there's a case to be made here for I Expect You to Die 3, but in my opinion, it's Hellsweeper all day. I think Hellsweeper is the best game on every platform this month, in my opinion.
And it looks amazing on this particular platform. So I think that, to me, outshines GAZZLERS, whereas GAZZLERS was like right up there. Made it a harder choice on the Quest, but it's a lot easier for me on PC for sure.
What do you think, Eric? What are you going to do?
This is so hard, man, and just shouldn't be. But
it's like picking a favorite child, although you only
game.
have one.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. If I just said what's my favorite game right now, I would say GAZZLERS. But I think overall, what is the best game on PC? I think it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be GAZZLERS. No, I'm only kidding. It's definitely going to be Hellsweeper.
Yeah, man. I mean, it plays so great, and it's so beautiful on that Reverb G2. I can't believe how well it runs. It's just like it's beautiful. When you play something like that on launch day that runs great on a super high resolution headset like Reverb, it really makes it that much more questionable how it launched on PlayStation. Like, how did you not make it run well on that? If you can make it run this well on that, it just don't make sense.
That's why it's so disappointing. It really is. Like, every time I think about it, it just makes me mad. Like, you were that close, You were a week off. I mean, you did it a week later.
Yeah. It wasn't even a week. It was less than a week.
Yeah.
Like it was just a few days.
It just makes me think that they were just like hopeful that nobody would give a shit. You know what I mean? They were like, we have it. We're ready. We can do it. We're just hoping that nobody notices and they don't give a shit and they don't say anything.
Because that's the one thing that the PlayStation community is known for, is not giving a shit.
I know, right? But you know what? But you know what it is though? Sometimes they just assume because they don't have anything great, to play right now, that they're just going to take whatever we give them, right? And that's not the case, man. We want the best you can give us. And if you're not going to give it, we just got to stop buying these games.
Yeah, it just seemed like they didn't optimize it. Like it didn't. Obviously, the type of work that needed to go into it wasn't anything that was super time intensive. But looks like they just ran out of time, and rather than waiting another week to launch, they just went with it, right, and fixed it quickly.
Tech wants to know what the mod of the month is.
Ooh.
Mod of the month. Well, we haven't played any. I would say it would probably be the Far Cry 6.
Yeah, Far Cry 6 is from what D says, is amazing. I can't wait to check it out. I'm kind of the mindset with
the Valve people are going nuts now, saying Portal, bro, Portal.
Portal 2, what's that? Nah, I don't know. It's antiquated. People say it's good, right? They say it's amazing.
Yeah, people say it's great. Yeah, it was a very heated discussion when I asked people, how much of this is, how much of it's nostalgia and how much of it is the game actually holding.
Oh, I had people telling me in the chat to go to sleep, grumpy man, or I don't know. People were so upset about that conversation, but that's the thing, man. Like
it was just a question too, like, right? Because neither of us have played it.
Yeah,
like it was just a question, and people were like, "How dare you ask that question?" Like, okay, sure.
This is my personal belief. I've played several games, even in the last couple of years, that I think are better than every Valve game I've ever played. That doesn't mean that the Valve games aren't amazing. I just think that there's certain.
How dare you?
I know. How dare you?
How dare you?
There's certain genres or certain time frames in our life that we enjoy something so much that's nothing's ever going to top it. And I get it. It's just I didn't experience it, so I'm not there with you. But I am in spirit, I guess. Kind of.
Gamertag VR says they didn't care. Shady goings on with the keys. I got one 5 hours before launch.
Willingly and knowingly, and then not giving creators keys so they can't show it. You know what I mean? And then because they want the pre-orders, right? They don't want anybody canceling the pre-orders, so they're like, let's hide the fact that the game is not perfect, so we can make sure that we dupe people into keeping the pre-orders, which is just bullshit, man. I just don't. I would feel better if there was no pre-order on it. You know what I mean? Or if it was a Steam game where you get a refund. When it's a PlayStation VR2 game and you get no refund, I mean, that's just a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you ask why this keeps happening on PSVR 2. I think maybe that no refund thing might be why it keeps happening, right?
Exactly.
Anyways, I think we have a pretty clear winner here. Hellsweeper VR, Game of the Month on PCVR, Game of the Month on Quest 2. Surprisingly, ALVO unseating it on PSVR 2, but Hellsweeper named runner-up on that platform.
They could have had a triple sweep, or a full sweep,
Yep. And in my opinion, that would have been just. But ALVO,
I hope this hurts them. I hope they're like, oh my God, Virtual Strangers just killed us. I hope they're like crying tomorrow. They think they're watching the show tomorrow, like, God, guys, we had our chance.
So, I'll be satisfied if they actually take the advice we're giving them to heart and actually, just don't let this happen again. That's the thing,
Is there a case here to put a runner-up on I Expect You to Die 3?
GAZZLERS? I'd go GAZZLERS over I Expect You to Die 3.
Yeah, I don't know. The chat pretty fond of I Expect You to Die 3, as am I.
They are right up there. I mean, I you gave us GAZZLERS. I have no problem with throwing that in there.
You know what though? I mean, is it really going to challenge for Game of the Year? No. And that's kind of the point, right? Is nominating games for Game of the Year. So I think we just called a clean win for Hellsweeper, and a deserved one at that. Great game, especially on PC.
Definitely.
All right, and that's it. Game of the month again on PlayStation VR 2. Game of the month was ALVO. After a very strong response from the chat and the voting on that, and then having Eric decide that he's going to punish Vertigo Games and Mixed Realms for launching in the state that it did.
How dare they?
And then Quest 2, Hellsweeper wins with GAZZLERS coming in as a runner-up. And then on PCVR, despite even more difficult competition, in my opinion, Hellsweeper just wins clean on PCVR.
Looper's got a good point, and it's kind of goes against everything that I say every time. But he says, but Game of the Year is like 16 categories. It's not always about just the winner of the overall category. There's a lot of different categories. So, pigeonholing it in there for that. So I need to stop saying that because, that's not necessarily the case, right?
Well, this is the nomination for the Game of the Year categories. Like these games, anybody that gets nominated for any of these Game
That's
of the
true.
Months
Yeah.
are going to be nominated for other awards at the end of the year.
Right. It's a different nomination process, right?
Like Outta Hand's going to be nominated for the platforming award. System Critical will be nominated for the retro award. You know what I mean? Like these games are going to be nominated. I Expect You to Die is going to be nominated for the best puzzle game, and GAZZLERS is going to be, you know, the best arcade shooter. Like these games are going to get nominated for the plethora of awards that we give out at the end of the year. Anyways, do we have anything left that we're not doing here? Like it's getting late and my memory's failing me.
I don't think so. I think that's the end of it. We don't have. I mean, we did all the winners, right? There's no more winner things.
Oh, how could I forget Oprah? Oprah's been sitting patiently wanting to give out this last gift card before we crash out and call it a night. So why don't we indulge her and move one more time back to the random.org random number generator to get one more number. There we go. There she is.
Yeah, she's a little funky. I fix her.
One more number to go with one more name. And then we're going to call it a night here. So random.org, give us one more cool person to give a gift card to.
That's all that's out there.
Almost.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's one or two people. They knew who they are.
Almost everyone in chat are great people. 19.
Oh.
The winner is 19. You got 13. Could have been 14. Could have been 15, 16, 17.
Whatever it takes.
Motherfucking 18. But it wasn't. It was 19.
Who is it? I think it is Technoglitch. He's out there.
No. Maybe. Or it could be AppJ.
Oh.
AppJ,
nice.
You are the winner. Congratulations, AppJ. You have won $25 on the VR platform of your choice. Winners, you know what to do. Tag me up on Discord. I can assure you I will not be buying these gift cards immediately after the show tonight because it is 4 a.m. almost here. But we will get your gift cards purchased and to you tomorrow. But you have to tag me up on Discord and tell me what platform that you would like these gift cards to come from. So please do so. There's a invitation to the Virtual Strangers Discord in the description below. Just click on that. Join our Discord. People are going to tell you hi when you come in the door. And then just tag me up. Send me a DM. Say, hey, Wes, where's my money at, bitch? And then I'll say, well, what platform do you want? And then you'll say Meta, or you'll say PlayStation VR North America, or you'll say I'm better than everybody, so I want Steam.
Pretty much fits, yeah. And Tech says your 9 was upside down. He's 16, so it wasn't Oppe, it was Technoglitch. Congrats, Tech. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work that way, Tech.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that I've heard a 16 tell me that they were 19.
That's right. And that's a difference between jail time, my friend. That is not worth the risk.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my differences. I learned the hard way, son. So that's it, guys. That's the show for this week. I want to thank everyone who stayed up late with us to play everybody's favorite game of the month. And congratulations to all the winners. Thanks to everyone who left all these awesome comments over the last week on episode 200. Lots of love in the comments, Ruuts, from episode 200, from our interview with Anthony. We even got a handful of comments from Main Fan. One of them, Ruuts, was, I miss you too, Ruuts.
I miss you too, Main Fan. You know, this is the thing. I miss both of them. So, and that's awesome. And we have so much love for the chat as well, and super cool.
Yeah. So thanks to all the well wishers out there, and thanks to everyone who hung out and chilled with us tonight. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That's kind of the point. That's why we do this, is so that you'll click that button and ring that bell. That allows us to bring you hot, fresh VR news on the weekly here on Virtual Strangers. If you're already subscribed, you want to do something extra, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month. That's all we ask. We give you weekly show notes. We give you insider updates. We give you exclusive content, all for less than $1 per week. And you get to feel good about yourself knowing that you contributed to the giveaways, for example, that we just did. That was all paid for out of the show funds from people who leave super chats and support on Patreon. Also, another example, we had to buy Hellsweeper on 2 platforms to give it proper coverage tonight. That also came out of the show fund.
VR
So
mods.
thank you.
Every VR mod we cover comes out of that as well, and those are not cheap usually.
Yeah. Yeah, all the flat games that we mod, that this is all paid for by you guys. So thank you once again to everyone who supports on Patreon. Thanks to everyone who leaves super chats. You are making a difference. You are making the content better. So thank you. Of course, if you don't have any money to donate, that's fine too. That is why our Discord is 100% free. And this is where all of our time goes, man. And I'm not saying that we're on there talking constantly, but we are on there constantly. We are lurking. Anytime anything happens in VR, we're on there talking about it. Half the time when shit happens on flat gaming, we're in there talking about it. We share music, we share jokes, we watch people get arrested and go to jail.
We're accessible. You can tag us and talk to us.
Anytime.
That's kind of a big deal too, because a lot of Discords, the people that are in the Discord for the channel aren't even there. Like, you just can't. You never see those people. It's like, where are they? So.
Yeah, and I mean, holiday shopping season's coming up. It's always a really interesting time as people like to share the best deals during the Black Friday season. I'm going to be building a PC, at least one PC this holiday season. So it should be a lot of fun in the Virtual Strangers Discord. I went to Walmart today, man. They had i5 12400K on clearance for like $100 or something like that. 120.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They had some clearance stuff. They also had 4070s in there for like $600 or something.
My
Prime
friend
Day's
Josh
coming up too.
My friend Josh picked up a 4070 Ti, and I mean,
nice.
That's definitely the new generation, that new technology. Although, like Wes has stated, if you have the patience and the time, about 14 months from now, we'll have another line rolling out a 5000 series.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how it comes out, though.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm going to buy a 5000 series. What I'm saying is I'm going to wait for those to drop, because when those drop, then the price of everything else drops.
And that's the way. That's reality. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and then maybe I can afford a 4090 at that point. It's funny the way Walmart does their prices. Like, they had 3070s and they had 4070s in stock. So they were carrying 3070s before. They've updated to the newer cards, but they still have the 3070s in stock, and they haven't cut the price on them. Like literally, there's like a $40 difference between a 3070 and a 4070 at Walmart.
There's no reason to get the 3000 series at the moment. The 4000 series is just so enticing, and it just makes more sense price wise.
They'll hold on to those cards until a year from now nobody's bought them. Then they'll clearance them out, and get good shit on clearance.
Here's a scenario where things turn where we don't think they're going to turn. If China invades Taiwan, everything gets flipped up on its head overnight, and that I think is a very possible future. Well, I think it's possible in the near future. But that's the thing. When nobody knows, like a year ago,
Nobody
everybody was overpaying for everything. So that's such a weird thing.
Here's what I want to know, and here's like the biggest question: why does everybody think you're high, Wes?
Probably because it's 4 a.m. and I'm fucking tired.
You know what's funny is I never hear anybody saying how Ruuts looks high, and I'm almost always high. So
Yeah.
it's like a switcheroo, man. I'm like, I'm high, bro. Come on.
What about me? I could be high. Do you think you're better than me?
You
I could
think
be high if I wanted to be high. I'm gonna
This
go eat a
man
gummy right
legitimately
now.
thinks that he is better than us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I wish I was high. Maybe I'll go get high.
Yeah, that's
Go get
right.
high.
You don't have
No.
to worry about the limitations of the past, right? Past
Impact
Wes was
Reality
love.
does not drug test.
That's true.
That's
Well-
not true.
We would be bad. We would have nobody that works for it.
What he means by that is that we don't test our drugs. We just
Yeah, right.
do
Yeah,
them.
yeah. No, we're just
Yeah.
freebasing.
No, I'm just tired. It's been a long fucking day. Been a long week.
That's-
And
Yeah,
Eric,
Wes and
this week,
dude,
dude, it's gonna be so crazy. Like between what's going on in the VR world and what's happening at Impact this week, like this week is nuts. It's
Well,
We
you-
have
nuts.
some amazing things happening this week for Impact Reality and XR Update and a slew of other things.
Well, I would have to say you two are like two of the hardest working people that I know. And that's pretty much everybody at Impact, but I just see how it affects you. You know what I mean? You guys are all busting your ass, and that's why when you have success, it makes me happy. You deserve it. You're busting your ass, and that's how you
Thank
get
you.
ahead. That's how you do it.
Thanks, dude. You're awesome.
You are. Agreed. I agree. We're all awesome,
Yes.
and like I said before, almost everyone in chat is just
Almost.
amazing.
Almost.
You know who especially is awesome? Is Tatum. Awesome Tatum is awesome.
Yes, awesome
That's
It's in his
Tatum.
name. It's in his name. He has to be.
Awesome Tatum and Don. Don, we know you're out there.
I love Don.
Yeah, me too.
Don, we miss you, brother.
We got
miss you.
CruCast. We got CruCast today.
Ah, that's a good
I don't
question.
know.
We'll find out.
GT, are we crew casting? What's up, bro? We're gonna get our last predictions in for Quest 3. How
He's already
awesome
got
it's
his
gonna
Quest
be.
3.
Oh,
It's
that's
unfair.
That's true.
Maybe he can show it
and
to us.
he has no embargo too, so we could just get on there tomorrow and grill him.
Oh,
You know,
that's-
AMA style.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a show tomorrow. And what are your guys' thoughts? I haven't had a chance to talk to you since Anthony's interview aired, but do you think there's truth that the Quest 3 won't do as well? I mean, obviously we know it's not going to do as well as Quest 2, but maybe it doesn't, because there's so many people that got involved in that big rush,
yeah.
and now it's like that
Look.
rush is done, and that their impression of Quest or VR is Quest 2. And, you know, that they don't know that Quest 3 is that much level higher, and they don't care, you know?
I don't think it's too early to tell, like over the lifespan of the product, what it's going to do one way or the other right now. I don't think it's going to match Quest 2's initial success because of a couple reasons. First of
Price.
all,
Yeah.
price to some extent, but it's a different atmosphere now. Like coming out of Quest 1 into Quest 2, VR headsets were scarce. Like it was hard to buy Quest 1s when Quest 2 came out. Like you couldn't find them. And if you remember, after Quest 2 came out, it was 3 or 4 months before they were in stock. Like it was like in February the next year before you could really get one. So there was that scarcity. Now after the scarcity subsided and you could buy one easily, the government started handing out checks to everyone.
Right.
People
Free money.
People were at home. We weren't allowed to go out and anywhere and do anything. People were looking for a way to escape. VR presented them that way to escape, and then the government pretty much paid for it. They bought everybody's headsets for them. So, like that was kind of a perfect storm that allowed Quest 2 to have that initial success. I think there's potential over the long term. I think after Apple Vision Pro comes out, I think that it could drive some demand, and people who can't afford to go drop $3,500 on a mixed reality headset maybe they go drop 500 on a Quest 3. Plus I mean, other stuff needs to happen. They need to find their killer mixed reality app, right? There needs to be that undeniable Beat Saber for mixed reality. And I don't mean actual Beat Saber. I mean, they need that title that makes them cross over, that makes Jimmy Fallon play Quest 3 on live TV. That sort of thing.
I don't even know it needs to be a game. And I think Apple's going to do it first, way more than Meta will with Disney or whatever it is. There's going to be experiences, movies, short movie, whatever. Apple will put, I guarantee these mixed reality things will be something to watch. Whereas I think Quest will be gimmicky for a while. And not that there won't be those really cool things that are in there. I just predict Apple's going to actually pay for what they need to pay for. And people they know the audience is going to be there. They already have their fucking audience lined up, ready to buy it. And it's not even close. You know what I mean? So that's the difference for there. And I maybe once they succeed so well, then some of that will kind of move over to Meta. But what good is getting a Meta headset for $500 if everything you can experience is nothing like what Apple has? You know what I mean? That's where Meta's struggling. Is give me something that's like mainstream, that's like fucking cool, like football or basketball on your table or like all that shit. Yeah. Like that's what's really going to push it, I think. So,
yeah.
But you will see some of that here with the mixed reality. You're going to see some of that. You know, you're going to see some of that using it as a TV screen, anchored to your wall in your living room. It's just going to be how comfortable it is and how long you feel you want to wear this new headset with this disgusting strap they have on it.
That's what it always comes down to. How long is it?
You know who loves when it's long?
Fat Boy Vernon says, Roots, can you please give Wes some of your drugs to perk him up? Yeah.
It's the end of the show, bro.
It's 3:52.
Why do I need to be?
You need to go.
Why do I
sleep?
need to be?
That's right.
Perky at 4 a.m. when the show's over.
Your wife might think differently, Wes.
Yeah, right.
You son of a bitch. You better.
Do you have like a special blue pill for him? Something.
It's Monday morning, guys.
Oh,
we don't do shit like that on Monday morning.
True. Yeah, it's been. I mean, when you have how many kids, and things start changing, it's like, you know what? We'll get a special day soon.
Yeah, right. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots and Eric, I'm Wes. We will see you very, very soon. It's Quest 3 week. It's Quest 3 week, 2 days, 1 day. Tomorrow.
1 day. Oh my God. What tomorrow? Take it easy.
See you later.